All My Friends Are Dead is a movie you can currently watch on Amazon Prime. But should you? So this popped up on my Amazon Prime movies we think you would like list, and I have to ask Amazon, do you even know me? Do you even know me? Although I've been watching a lot of horror movies, so I guess this does pan out. Anyway, I saw this, and I saw the name JoJo Siwa pop up, and I'm like, nope, not for me. But then I realized, you know what? I don't even know what a JoJo Siwa even is. So I could watch this movie, and I wouldn't even know which one is that. Guy, girl, no clue. I had to IMDb who the character was, and if you're looking for a JoJo Siwa movie, this ain't it. She's in it for a grand total of 1 minute of screen time. Way to try to use that famous name to get people to watch your movie. Anyway, what's it about? So first, it's an hour and 31 minutes long. It's a horror film, rated R. A group of college friends rent an Airbnb for the biggest musical festival of the year. A weekend of partying quickly takes a turn as the group is murdered one by one according to their sin. Blah, 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 blah. This does the whole 7 deadly sins thing that's been done so many times now. And I'm gonna tell you something. No. Spoiler alert, okay? Big time spoiler alert. I'm not gonna say who the killer is, but it's so easy to guess who the killer is gonna be. Like, it's painfully obvious. They introduce a character at the beginning of the film, and they give that character enough screen time to go, oh, okay, this person is showing up later. And then by the time the end starts to come near before the big reveal, you're like, oh, fuck, okay, that's the killer, obviously, because why introduce that person just to not ever bring them back in the rest of the movie? Obviously, it's them, and it was them. And then they had a person working with them, which, again, extremely obvious. Once the story unfolds, you're like, oh, this person's definitely involved, or the ringleader. I mean, essentially, it's one of those revenge stories, like, oh, this group of kids bullied a certain person, and so now we're taking revenge on the people that did that to them. Like, things we've seen so many fucking times before, and done well, but not here. Not done well here. This was... God damn it, this was a stupid movie. I almost turned it off like 9 times. I was like, what am I even doing? What am I doing watching this? But then I realized, you know what? I'm doing it for my country. I don't know why. I would highly recommend you never lay eyes on this, but you might like it because you like... It's not even like so bad it's good. It's not even so bad it's hilarious to watch. It's just bad. So out of a possible 800... glowy mask things, I give it 4 the cop is the killer's is, and the ends is. So, there you go. Oops. Anora, I'm sorry, I'm third wheeling here, apologies. Be out of your hair in a second. Anora is a movie that's dominating the awards circuit right now, so I watched it. Here's what I think of it. I know, who cares, right? So it is rated R. It's 2 hours and 19 minutes long. It's rated R because there is a lot of nudity, especially in the first 30 to 40-ish minutes of the movie. It is labeled a comedy. I would say it's more of a dramedy, maybe. So it's described as a comedic variation on a modern-day Cinderella story. Mikey Madison captivates as Annie, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, whose life takes an unexpected turn when she meets and impulsively marries Vanya, the impetuous son of a Russian billionaire. However, when Vanya's parents catch wind of the union, they send their henchmen to annul the marriage, setting off a wild chase through the streets of New York. So Annie, or Anora, is a character she works at a strip club, and she has an encounter with this guy here. When I read an article or a review about this movie before I watched it, and they said, if Timothy Chalamet played Borat, that's this character. And yeah. But basically, yeah, they get married on this, like, impromptu trip to Vegas, and Annie she's in love with them. And, you know, she thinks he's in love with her. Now, Anora is played by Mikey Madison. Hey, we have the same name. Cool name. Anyway. So she has been getting a shit ton of rave reviews, and she is basically a front runner to at least be nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress. Spoiler alert from one of the recent Scream movies, alright? You've been warned. So Mikey Madison was in, I think, the Scream in 2022, and she ended up being the killer, one of them. And that was really, like, all I really knew about her. But let me tell you, the reviews on her performance in this movie, absolutely spot on. She is funny, she's charming, she's loudmouthed, she's a no-nonsense, doesn't put up with anyone's bullshit kind of person, and she's got like this heavy New York accent. And man, I mean, she is nails in this movie. She is so good. If she were to win the Oscar for Best Actress, I'd say, as of right now, absolutely deserving. She truly carries this movie from beginning to end. The movie itself, I'll say it's a really good movie. Personally, I would say that it was probably a little bit overrated. Like, I just personally didn't think it was this, tour de force, incredible movie that people are saying, yeah, this is like Best Picture winner right here. I liked it a lot. It's an excellent movie. Would I choose it as my personal Best Picture of the year? I don't know. I'd have to see the rest of the movies. And there is another character in the movie who's getting some kind of attention. I believe his name is pronounced Yura Borisov. He plays the character Igor. Now, his role overall is pretty small, and his performance is much more subtle, especially in the final, moments of the movie. But he's really good. And to me, he's kind of like almost the heart of the story in the end. So, spoiler alert, kind of. If you don't want the ending spoiled, I'm not going to ruin it. But of all of the characters in this movie that interact with Anora, he is probably the only one out of all of them who actually respects her for her, who respects her, as a woman. Anora is used to men paying for her attention, and she is not used to anyone, especially any man in her life, treating her like a human being and not an object. And so kind of throughout the movie, you have this guy who's trying to show her that he actually cares. And in this kind of heartbreaking final moment of the movie, for me at least, is how I interpreted it, she doesn't know how to react to that. She keeps putting up these walls and these defenses when this guy is trying to be a genuine person to her. And it's just, I don't know, it's just it's very heartbreaking. And you do kind of have a pretty ambiguous ending. You don't really know what comes next for her. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good movie. It is funny at times. I definitely laughed, but it's really more heavy on dramedy. I do think it's deserving of being nominated for Best Picture, but for it to win, me personally, I don't know. I would probably give it 9 out of 10, and a lot of that has to do with Mikey Madison's performance. I mean, she is just really good in this. Bagman. Hello. Bagman is a new horror movie that came out. Here's my review. First and foremost, it's PG-13. It's 1 hour and 32 minutes long, and it's so good that the critics didn't even want to see it. A family finds themselves ensnared in a nightmare as they are hunted by a malevolent mythical creature. For centuries and across cultures, parents have warned their children of the legendary Bagman, who snatches innocent children and stuffs them into his vile, rotting bag, never to be seen again. Patrick narrowly escaped such an encounter as a boy, which left him with lasting scars throughout his childhood. Now, Patrick's childhood tormentor has returned, threatening the safety of his wife, Karina, and their son, Jake. Yeah. Okay. Well, so the positives, I mean, this guy's pretty cute. And what else? What else is there to positively say? Ugh. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I thought this movie was shit. I thought it was worse than shit. Okay, it wasn't the worst horror movie I've ever seen. Certainly there have been far worse. But it's just not, it's just so I couldn't even stay focused on it. It was just it was unfolding on the screen while I was scrolling on my phone because this movie did not keep me remotely engaged. Really weak on, the story and the background of this, whatever. It's not scary, at all. It's corny. It's kind of like every horror movie you've ever seen with some sort of mythical monster creature. It does nothing new or original. It kind of brings that genre it takes it back a few steps. I'm sorry, if you like this movie, I apologize for offending you, but I really thought this movie was stupid. Really just so stupid. So out of a possible 461 button eyes, I give this 2 wooden flutes that are out of tune. So, there you go. I guess. So I finally got around to watching Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Alright. Guess he's not real. Pussy. Anyway, it is now available as of today to stream on HBO Max, or I guess just it's called Max. It's PG-13, it's an hour and 45 minutes long, and it got pretty solid reviews across the board. So the plot of the movie is basically Lydia Dietz, played by, of course, Winona Ryder, along with her mother, Delia, played by the ever-so-fantastic Catherine O'Hara. They return to their old family home where the events of the first movie took place, along with Lydia's daughter, Astrid, played by the seemingly now always consistently fantastic Jenna Ortega. They return to their home because, well, Lydia's father has died. The actor was not going to be in this movie for reasons. So, spoiler alert, just in case. Jenna Ortega's character befriends someone she thinks is this cute boy that she maybe might start dating. Turns out he's not so great. He's actually a ghost who tricks her into going into the underworld. So Lydia has to enlist the help of her old nemesis, Mr. Beetlejuice, played just so fantastically, of course, by Michael Keaton. I mean, come on. I mean, he's just Beetlejuice. He's the ghost with the most, babe. But basically, she teams up with him in order to save her daughter. I just want to say, I really wish movies like this got more attention from like the mainstream award shows, like the Oscars and stuff. Because I think Catherine O'Hara is just such a delightful actress that I loved seeing Delia again. And I really just feel like she's just, she's not like Meryl Streep level phenomenal in this movie. It's just she's so fucking enjoyable, so entertaining. But it's like I feel awards should be given to her. Same thing for Michael Keaton. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic in this. I like the entire cast. I mean, the whole cast was great. Jenna Ortega, of course, she's just an up-and-coming, fantastic actress. What I appreciated about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is that it didn't just basically take the first movie and then just redo it as the same thing again. The whole movie doesn't take place in the house. You don't have the original characters from the first movie. I mean, the Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin characters. So it paves the way for, like, a new story. And I think in terms of comparing it to the first movie, I think it holds its own. Now, it certainly is not the original, meaning this movie is good, but it's not Beetlejuice, level good. But it still holds the same, magical effect that original movie had. Especially for people like us, millennials, this movie was a humongous part of our childhoods. And I think from a nostalgic point of view, this was a great movie. I really do, I think that. It wasn't perfect, but it did what it needed to do. It needed to be entertaining, and it needed to kind of bring us back to that time frame, and it did so really well. I will say there were a lot of, obvious computerized effects, but I think there was still a mix of practical effects, and that's one of the best parts about the first Beetlejuice was that it was primarily practical effects, practical makeup. And I don't know, I kind of missed that here. That's why, it kind of takes a little bit of a ding for me personally, but it wasn't that big of a deal, not really. I do think it had probably too many storylines going. This character here, we didn't need her. Which means we didn't need where is he? Right here. The Willem Dafoe character. Because he's basically in it for this person. That whole storyline, it just felt so unnecessary. It just didn't need to be part of this movie. Because in the end, it didn't mean anything. So it was bogged down by doing too much. And it didn't need to do that. The first movie didn't do too much, and this one didn't need to either, but it did. I think if they simplified the whole thing, it would have been much, much, much better. But I still very much enjoyed it. That storyline wasn't a humongous distraction by any means. It just was why? It's just there to pad time. But in the end, I really do think that this movie just succeeded well in bringing us back to the original. But we don't need a third one, I don't think. But at any rate, out of a possible 1,276 sand snakes, I give this 996 shrunken heads. So, there you go. What is one of your favorite line deliveries in a movie? And I guess you already know what movie I'm choosing, but here is one of my favorites.
Bottoms up.
Yeah, from Death Becomes Her, that was Meryl Streep. If you've never seen this movie, where have you been your whole life? These two women take a potion to make themselves younger, and of course it has some issues. It's a dark comedy, but if you have never seen this legitimately, you really need to see it. It's one of my favorites. It's a classic. Are you having a good time? Blink twice if you are. Hey, I just watched the movie Blink Twice. It's rated R. It's about an hour and 42 minutes long. It's a mystery thriller. When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, sparks fly. He invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. It's paradise. Wild nights blend into sun-soaked days and everyone's having a great time. No one wants this trip to end, but as strange things start to happen, Frida begins to question her reality. There is something wrong with this place. She'll have to uncover the truth if she wants to make it out of this party alive. Ladies, it's got Channing Tatum and other people as well. It's directed by Zoe Kravitz. This is actually her directorial debut. I've never seen this actress before. I believe her name is Naomi Ackie is how you pronounce it. She is delightful. I liked her a lot in this movie. It also has what's her name? You see what I did there? Arrested Development, maybe. That was hello. He sees dead people. Well, not on this island. He sees like rapey people. But you know, it's got Haley Joel Osment and Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's one of their kids. This guy. Gina Davis, hello. Oscar winner. Oscar nominee. And it's got Christian Slater in a movie where the main character's name is Slater. What? Anyway, I thought this movie was actually pretty good. I didn't absolutely love it by any means, but I liked the story. I liked the little twisty, second half of the movie. Because you're really kind of thinking what the hell is going on here? Things little weird things are happening. Why are they forgetting small things? Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. But things begin to slowly unfold, and you're like, whoa, holy shit, Jeffrey Epstein much, huh? I mean, this is basically Epstein Island, maybe exaggerated much, but also maybe this is pretty identical, don't know. I had never seen Channing Tatum play a villain before, but he does well. I thought the whole cast was great. So really, ultimately, this is kind of about men and their power, right? Their power, especially over women, and especially rich men with their power over women, that they think they can do whatever they want and take whatever they want. And so the way it ends, again, spoiler alert, you have a reversal of the victims here. Or as one person described it, the cycle of abuse. It switches place. I have seen a couple of people criticize, why did she do that in the end? Why did she become, the abuser, if you will? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, go for it. This guy, I mean, I love what she did at the end to him. I love, the whole, women taking that power away and then reversing it. I think what, she did in the end was pretty fucking badass, if you ask me. If you've seen the movie, what do you think? What did you think of the main character taking the abuse away from the other main character and then flipping that abuse onto him? The abuse of power, if you will. Personally, I just thought it was great. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Anyway, I thought this was, for the most part, a pretty damn good movie. I was definitely surprised by liking it. I was like, oh my god, Channing Tatum, I don't dislike him, I just don't really have an opinion, So out of a possible 322 fat blunts, I give it 287 Polaroid pictures. Shake it like a Polaroid. This. Whatever, Mike. So there you go. Yep. This existed. Welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the movie Borderlands, based on the hit video game series, a video game series I fucking love. Sorry. Here's something positive. It was a movie. That's Rated PG-13, hour and 42 minutes long. It's about an hour and 42 minutes too long, if you ask me. As you can see, rave reviews. I'm not going to waste too much time on this one. Why did I watch it? I don't know. Despite everyone saying it was garbage, I'm like, you know what? Let's just fuck it. Let's just watch it. It's as if someone said one day, hey, you want to make a movie? And they're like, yeah, okay, let's make a movie. Okay, let's do it. Okay, well, how soon can you have a script? Give me like, I don't know, about 90 minutes and I can do this. Okay, great, we'll start filming tomorrow. What? What the fuck? I never thought that I would see, Cate Blanchett, this prestige Oscar-winning actress, in a movie like this. Oscar winner Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Oh my god. I wanted to melon baller my eyeballs out whilst watching this shit fest. God, this was horrible. This was horrible. Listen, some video games, like let's say Fallout or The Last of Us, you can pull from those game series and really they have the material, the source material to craft a really powerful story or an entertaining story. I don't think Borderlands was ever meant for a movie. I just don't. I think this was it should have just remained a video game and that was it. Because they're just really... This movie made me want to cut my nipples off with a butter knife. I almost stuck a screwdriver in my ear. And that's it. That's my review of this movie. So it fucking sucks. Out of a possible just 100, it got negative 357,000. Hated every second of it. Great. What's a TV show that got canceled way too early? Here's mine. Harper's Island, and I will always be pissed off about this. Especially now, because now we have shows all over the place that are like this one. But when this show came out in 2008, it was like a one-of-a-kind thing. Like now we have shows like Slasher. Same concept. Going on for multiple seasons now. So what is Harper's Island about, in case you've never seen it or heard about it? Really, it's kind of like a season of Slasher. So it's about a wedding that's taking place on an island called Harper's Island, and it's the humongous wedding party that has arrived there. But coming back to Harper's Island is traumatic for some of these people because this guy here, John Wakefield, 7 years prior, he went on a murderous serial killer spree. He murdered 6 people there, and he was presumably shot and killed. And one of the victims from that first murder spree was this character's mom, and she's like the main character of the show. But everything seems to be going hunky-dory at first. But in every single episode, and there's only 13 total episodes, at least one person is killed. The rest of the group doesn't really realize people are dying until about the 4th or 5th episode, I think. And then once they all find out, it's basically the rest of the season is just like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And so it consists of them trying to find ways to call for help. Because at one point when they try to leave by boat, someone blew the boat up, presumably the killer. Nobody knows who the killer is, but people keep getting picked off one by one. Oh, Cal and Chloe. Spoiler alert, sorry. Listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, okay? Every character in the show that you probably end up loving, just don't get attached to literally any of them, just in case. In terms of the present day story, 33 characters are killed on Harper's Island. 33 characters over 13 episodes. In the end, there are literally only 4 people who walk away alive. And it is one of the primary cast members who is revealed to be the killer in the end. The show has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So there's a complete resolution at the very end. So it leaves nothing undone. But CBS canceled it after 1 season. I think it's because that it was ahead of its time. We didn't really have anthology series yet, like American Horror Story. When that came out, that kind of started the new trend of anthology shows. And now we have shows like Slasher, various other shows where it's a different story each season. Fargo's another one, even though that's not really a slasher. It's still a big murder mystery type thing. But I consider this the show that inspired all of it. I don't care what you say to me. I feel that very strongly. I think if people are smart here, okay? Not you, CBS. You ditch this show, all right? But I think any other place can pick up the show and go, hey, let's do this again. I was just so bummed when they canceled this. I thought it was such a cool and unique show. And then they had to just rip it away from us. Pricks. Anyway, what's a show that you think has the same stuff quality? What? Carry On is a new movie that just premiered on Netflix. It's rated PG-13. It's about 2 hours long. It's an action movie, or so they say. The plot, a young TSA agent fights to outsmart a mysterious traveler who blackmails him into letting a dangerous package slip onto a Christmas Eve flight. In limited critics' reviews, it's gotten solid reviews. The fans are like, "Brr." It stars Taron Egerton as the young TSA agent. Is that how you say his last name? Egerton? And it stars Jason Bateman and Jason Bateman's hair. He is the mysterious traveler. And yeah, basically the plot that I just described pretty much sums it up. Jason Bateman is trying to smuggle this explosive device. It's got a nerve agent on it onto a plane. And so he blackmails several different people into doing all of the work for him. You also have like a sort of a side plot of an LAPD agent who has growing suspicions about some sort of attack. And it's got Taron Egerton doing a whole lot of Tom Cruise running. So listen, okay, I did not even know this movie was a thing. I only learned about it about 3 hours ago. I don't know if I would really classify this truly as an action movie, because the action doesn't really kick in until like the last 20-30 minutes of the movie, and it's almost 2 hours long. It almost has, like, the first half of this movie almost has like a kind of like a phone booth style, you know, like the movie Phone Booth with Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland. Like, for a good chunk of the movie, Jason Bateman's performance is really just audible. You only hear it. Anyway, it was okay, I guess. It's nothing to write home about. I couldn't be disappointed in it because I didn't even know it was a movie until just literally hours ago. So I had no expectations. I'm like, oh, fuck it. Let's just watch this, whatever it is. It literally just premiered today, I think, as of me filming this. It's a little silly at times. I don't really care about if a movie, especially like action type movies, have like unbelievable parts to them, like things that can't happen in real life. We go to the movies to escape real life. So I just personally don't care about things that happen in movies that just aren't plausible, because who cares? That being said, when a movie kind of establishes its own logic, I think sometimes, I don't know, you want it to stick to that logic. And significant spoiler alerts here. Okay, just so you've been warned. This whole movie, Jason Bateman is like meticulously planning this whole thing. He's like moving chess pieces, right? And he has a partner, this mysterious partner, working in a van, kind of doing all the surveillance and stuff. And they're very careful about staying kind of in the shadows. But then suddenly out of nowhere, they're just like, fuck it, let's just expose ourselves. Like, what? Like, the mysterious guy in the van is just suddenly chasing people through the airport, stabbing them, firing guns, crashing cars, chasing people in their cars. Like, you got Jason Bateman just walking casually into like restricted areas of the airport. Taron Egerton is just running around this place, just saying fuck you to everyone, saying, hey, you can't go on there. I don't know. It's just, I guess they needed to move the plot along, and so whatever. Like, I don't care that it's implausible, but at the same time, it's just silly and kind of stupid. And then they're like, yeah, there's this nerve agent that could kill a city full of people. But the LAPD agent's like, oh, so he said he can disarm the bomb? This guy who's he's a TSA agent? We shouldn't ground the flight? Okay, let's just let this guy somehow get onto this plane that's already about to take off and disarm the bomb. Sure, yeah, well, that's fine, whatever, we'll trust it. I don't know, it just felt like the movie could have been more intelligent, I guess. I mean, it's entertaining enough. I certainly wasn't, like, ever distracted from it. It's not the worst movie I'll ever see. It's far from the best. In terms of like action thriller type things, you know, it's definitely not going to rank high either. Ultimately, I'm probably going to forget I ever watched this movie by like 3 days from now. And that's the thing, it's just kind of forgettable. It's got elements of fun and entertainment, but, you know, if you're bored one day, it's worth a watch, you know, why not? Sure, go for it. But I just didn't think it was all that good. Like, it was okay. It just wasn't good. You know what I mean? So out of a possible 100, take your laptops out of your bags. I give it 52. What the fuck is that mysterious liquid you're carrying on? Is that more than 3.2 ounces? Is. So there you go. Who had the best story arc of any TV character of all time? I'll go first. There is no question for me. Bryan Cranston and his transformation from Walter White to Heisenberg is one of the greatest, most perfectly executed developments and character arcs I think we may ever see. If you are unsure of who this even is, it's from Breaking Bad. Walter White is the main character of the show. He starts off as a high school teacher who's kind of just this family man, and then he suddenly develops cancer. And because he can't afford healthcare costs, and he also wants to be able to make sure his family is taken care of after his death, well, he finds a way to make money. So he begins to cook meth. He starts off as kind of like this bumbling idiot who doesn't really know what he's doing, certainly not within the world of crime. But then as each season goes by, you see this transformation where Walter becomes more confident. He starts the show as the hero, the guy we are rooting for. But by the end, he becomes the show's primary villain, really. He is the big bad. He's the bad guy. Obviously, he still has, love for his family, and there is still that Walter White who is still in him. But because his product was really, really good, he just. So here's a small snippet of a scene where I think is where he really began to transform into Heisenberg.
Skyler, where is I?
I gave it to Ted.
There is a reason why Bryan Cranston won 4 Emmys for his portrayal of Walter White. I mean, I don't even know how else to describe it. It was seamless. Like, it felt real. For us to start the show rooting for him. What's going on? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh, God, I hope he dies. It's incredible what he did. And let's also not forget, this show started shortly after Malcolm in the Middle, where he played the dad. Also nominated for 3 Emmys for that show. The difference was staggering. It was so shocking to see this, after Malcolm in the Middle finished. I believe you can watch all of Breaking Bad still on Netflix if you've never seen it. Come on, see it already. It's weird to realize how many of the gifts in 12 Days of Christmas are birds. 6 out of the first 7 days, your true love just gives you birds. 23 total birds. What if you don't even like birds? I bet on day 5 you're like, golden rings, phew, we're finally done with all the birds. Then bam, 6 geese. I never really thought about that. Oh, I have an owl on my shirt, that's a bird. Not to be that guy, but all the gifts are birds. Wait, what? Are all gifts mentioned in the 12 Days of Christmas actually birds? Huh? 5 golden rings. It's possible that the gold rings instead refers to common ring-necked pheasants. 8 maids a milkin'. Oh, I never really thought of how gross that is. These are smallish, mostly white wading birds with yellow or grayish legs and long yellow beak. 9 ladies dancing. Is the northern lapwing vanellus? 10 lords a leaping. It's possible that they were gray herons. All of them were birds? Every gift you got for 12 Days of Christmas were birds? What? Yes, many of the gifts in the Christmas Carol, the 12 Days of Christmas, are birds that were likely eaten? The song's many animal gifts may be a reference to feasting because many of the animals were eaten by Europeans. Tudor Christmas pie would have contained several of the birds in the song. Several of the birds in one pie? So this dude is gifting us a fuck ton of birds and we're supposed to, over 12 days, cook them and eat them? Well, this took a dark fucking turn. How many gifts are given in total? Over the course of the 12 days, the True Love gives 364 birds! That's because the gifts are cumulative. For each day, the singer gets a repeat of the gifts from the previous day. You get 12 partridges, 22 turtle doves, 30 French hens, 36 calling birds, 40 gold rings, 42 geese, 42 swans, 40 maids, 36 ladies, 30 lords, 22 pipers, and 12 drummers. And I gotta eat all that shit? How much would it cost? $200,000? Just give me $200,000. You can keep your birds. 364 birds worth $200,000? Jesus Christ! Conclave is another movie currently dominating the awards circuit. Is it worth it? Let me work. I don't know if that's appropriate for this type of movie. Sorry. Hi, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the movie Conclave. It's approximately 2 hours long. It's rated PG? What? I didn't even realize that. That's weird. Okay. It's described as a mystery and thriller? Not to me. As you can see, it got phenomenal reviews from everyone. Conclave follows one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting the new pope. Cardinal Lawrence, played by Ralph Fiennes, is tasked with running this covert process after the unexpected death of the beloved pope. Once the Catholic Church's most powerful leaders have gathered from around the world are locked together in the Vatican halls, Lawrence uncovers a trail of deep secrets left in the dead pope's wake, secrets which could shake the foundations of the church. It stars Ralph Fiennes, who is really, really good in this movie. It also has Isabella Rossellini, who I'll always remember for Now a Warning. Now a Warning? Some of you will probably get that. It's got John Lithgow and another one of my favorites, Stanley Tucci. Here's the thing. This is a good movie. It is a well-made movie. The acting from all the actors is really, really fantastic. I could easily see Ralph Fiennes being nominated for Best Actor. You know, I could even see possibility of Stanley Tucci getting a supporting actor nomination. Isabella Rossellini is getting a lot of attention from the awards circuit, even though she has a very limited role in this. That being said, I just personally did not feel like this did anything new. It kept my attention. Like, I was engaged in this movie the entire time. I never felt the need or the urge to get distracted from it. This concept of it being described as a mystery thriller is really silly to me, because the scandals that come out in this movie, you think are stuff like, oh, it's probably something to do with, children, right? But it isn't. Like, the scandals involved are like, okay, whatever. I just kind of personally felt like it didn't offer anything different in this type of story. While it was really well told and done just excellent, story-wise, it didn't do much for me. And then it threw in this last minute, literally like in the last few minutes of the movie, this completely bizarre and unnecessary twist. I still cannot understand why. What did it do for this? It didn't do anything. It felt forced. It felt just goofy. And slight spoiler alert, I mean, it does have some involvement with the LGBTQIA, which I'm a part of. I'm gay. But this twist just felt thrown in there for what? I don't, like, to those who have seen it, like, what? I don't get it. It didn't change the story. It wasn't like oh my god, everything is now different. It was just like what the fuck? Okay. I was reading some reviews that people said that there were people laughing in the theaters when the twist happened. It was just because it's just like, But anyway, I mean, like I said, Conclave, on the surface, on paper, really, really well-made movie. It's very good. But to me, it just didn't do anything new. It didn't do anything profound. I didn't really get anything from it, like any kind of deep meaning. I don't know. It's good, but not good. So, out of a possible 100 Holy Fathers, I give it 68 Domine Sanctum Into Moncto Saio. So there you go. That was me trying to speak in Latin, but I don't know Latin, but I hope that helps. Okay. You know what something movies have lied to us about our entire lives? Coughing. Growing up, we all watched movies where if a character in the beginning of the movie does a subtle little and the movie makes a point to show you that person doing that, you know they're going to be dead. Because in movies, a cough doesn't mean a cold, doesn't mean a sore throat, it means cancer. Or some rare disease that no one has ever heard about ever in existence. It starts as a subtle little and then like 30 minutes later you get the and it like happens mid-conversation and the other person's like, oh my god, are you okay? They're not okay. They're not okay. Their insides are being eaten. And then later on it's the followed by the blood pooling in their palm, which they hide from the other people in the movie because they don't want them to know. Petrified. Growing up, I was petrified that if I had a cough, I'm going to be dead in an hour and a half. And you know what's crazy? They still do that. They still do that same old shit in movies nowadays. And we all know what it means. You're just telling us, you want to tell us, foreshadow, that character is going to be dead by the end of the movie. That when the opportunity comes up, because they had a bad cough, they're going to be the ones to sacrifice their lives to save the world. Because, they're dying anyway. Also, side note, how come when a person gets shot, like, in the kneecap or stabbed in the left arm in a movie, why does blood come out of their mouths always? Is that scientifically, medically accurate? I don't know. Does an injury make all your blood flow upwards towards your throat and out of your mouth? And it's never like, it's like a pool. It's like they're throwing up blood. It just always looks uncomfortable. And then when they get shot in the head, blood comes out of their legs for some reason. 99% of you will fail this brain test. Dan got married when he was 25. Now his kid is 25 years old. So how old is Dan now? The horse's name is Monday. Dan got married when he was 25. Now his kid is 25 years old. So how old is Dan now? So how old is Dan now? So how old is Dan now? I don't know why he's saying it differently. He's going to help Mike. Dan got married when he was 25. Okay, hold on a second here. Maybe just a second. This might help. Dan got married when he was 25. Now his kid is 25 years old. So how old is Dan now? Okay, so glasses don't make you smarter. Okay. Who the fuck is the 1% that got this right? There is no answer. Is that the answer? The answer is unknowable, right? Because we don't know how old Dan was when he had his kid, right? What the fuck is this? Dan got married when he was 25. Now his kid is 25 years old. So how old is Dan now? Okay, the inflection is not helping, Mike. Okay, I don't... Fuck is how old he is. Final answer. Emilia Perez is one of the most talked about movies currently on the awards circuit. Hello, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the movie Emilia Perez, starring Carla Sofia Gascon, Zoe Saldana, and Selena Gomez. It is 2 hours and 12 minutes long. It is described as a musical, which was surprising to me. I did not know that it was a musical heading into it. It's gotten pretty solid reviews across the board. Emilia Perez, an audacious fever dream that defies genres and expectations. Through liberating song and dance and bold visuals, this odyssey follows the journey of four remarkable women in Mexico, each pursuing their own happiness. The fearsome cartel leader, Emilia, enlists Rita, an unappreciated lawyer, stuck in a dead-end job, to help fake her death so that Emilia can finally live authentically as her true self. So, Emilia Perez, the titular character of the story, is played by Carla Sofia Gascon, and she is a trans woman in real life. So, essentially, at the beginning of the movie, you see her as a male. She is this, big, tough cartel leader, and she approaches Zoe Saldana's character to help her with transitioning, which is definitely a unique and kind of unexpected way to tell a story like this. You don't expect like these, big, tough, scary cartel leaders to want to transition. It is available on Netflix, by the way. So I knew about this movie. I knew it was a foreign language film. I did not know that it was a musical heading into it. And I wouldn't say this is like a true, genuine, Wicked or Moulin Rouge or Chicago style musical. It's not. The musical numbers are kind of scattered just sort of throughout. They pop up kind of randomly, and it's different. Like it just has a very different feel to it, which I liked. Now, I'm not a trans person. I have read that there are some trans individuals who feel like this was a gross misinterpretation of the trans journey. I've also read positive things, so I can't speak for that, because that's not my own personal experience. So I can only kind of look at this from the outside looking in and go, I thought this was a very insightful, very different type of story. It was really well told, in my opinion. Again, coming from someone who does not have that personal experience in that realm. I honestly wasn't really expecting to like this movie, but I ended up absolutely loving it. I couldn't stop watching it. The one thing for me, it was just kind of distracting because in the musical numbers, you have to, obviously, you're reading the movie because it's subtitled. So it kind of, for me personally, pulled away from like being able to see the visual aspect of it because I was focused on the subtitles. But it really wasn't that big of a deal. I thought this was a gorgeous movie. It looked amazing. The director did a really phenomenal job at kind of making this sort of like a visual masterpiece. It's very like surreal at times, but it's also not, too flashy. But what really drives this movie home is the performances from the 3 stars of the movie. I had never heard of Carla before, and she was absolutely breathtaking. I've always enjoyed Zoe Saldana. I've always liked her, and she was, once again, just fantastic. Selena Gomez, I really had no opinion on her. I don't really know her body of work that well. But from what I do know about her, I've heard that people have had issues with her, I guess, her Spanish speaking in this movie because Spanish is not her native language. But, I couldn't tell, so... But she really was really, really good in this movie. All 3 women are kind of in the running right now for Oscar nominations. They were all just nominated for Golden Globes, and I could very easily see all of them getting in. It would be category fraud for Zoe Saldana, though, because she's going as supporting, when in actuality, she is pretty much the lead of the movie, but she's not the title character, so I guess they can get away with it that way. This is not a movie I would probably ever watch again, because it doesn't really have a lot of rewatchability factors to it, but I certainly was very pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. It was a stunning kind of tour de force style film. I'm just curious, if you are trans and you have seen this movie, did it have a genuine look into, your world, or was it a gross misinterpretation like many others have said? I'm just genuinely curious to know, because again, I don't have that experience. And if I did, that might have changed my perspective of the film. So I'm just really curious. Out of a possible 300 dead cartel members, I give this 289 whimsical dance numbers. So there you go. Describe your last fart using only a movie title. And due to my immaturity, let's read the comments. Extremely loud and incredibly close. The remains of the day. There will be blood? Oh my god, go to a doctor. Paul Blart Mall Cop. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs? That's shooting out some pain right there. Up in smoke. Avatar, The Last Airbender. And if it's that M. Night Shyamalan version, yeah, it's you probably shit at the end. Grease. Tropic Thunder. Kaboom. Home Alone. Aw. Fast and the Furious. Well, just sometimes they come out quick. Wicked. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Oh my god, what came out of you? That's more than a fart, my guy. The Conjuring. Okay. Volcano. Gross. The Fog. So gross. Swamp Thing. Ew, it sounds wet. Jack the Ripper. Was there a Jack the Ripper movie title? I'm sure there was. Bubble Boy. Ew. It popped. Get Out. That's how it works. That's science. Waterworld. Oh. It's not supposed to be watery when you fart. You might want to check your pants. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yep, it was that powerful. Death Wish. Oh. Despicable Me. Man, a lot of you guys said There Will Be Blood. Ugh. The Ghost and the Darkness. I remember that movie. A Quiet Place. Oh, Silent but Deadly. Hostel. Gone with the Wind. Okay, I was waiting for that one. Hot Fuzz. That sounds like it hurt. A Mighty Wind. The Wrath of Khan. Gone in 60 seconds. Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice to think of the people around you that it's dissipated. Krampus. I don't know why that just sounds icky. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? That's called Hershey Squirts, my guy. A river runs through it. Oh, it just sounds like you farted, but it came out creamy and juicy. The Big Chill. Again, there will be blood. You guys need to go to the doctor immediately. The Uninvited. 28 days later, is that how long it lingered for? Damn. It follows. Predator, yeah. Chitty chitty bang bang. Inside Out, that's how it works. Again, that's science. Deep Impact. Damn, that must have been a powerful one. The Phantom Menace. That sounds like someone who doesn't want to admit that they farted. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Well, that's nice that you made it go over a cuckoo's nest. Unforgiven. Damn, it was that bad that people didn't forgive you. The Great Escape. Straight Out of Compton. Tick, tick, boom. Swamp Thing. God, that's just... You might need some new underwears. All Quiet on the Western Front until The Perfect Storm came out. Splash. It came... that's a poop that came out and splashed. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Were you kissing someone when you tooted? The Evil Dead. I was also waiting for that one, yeah. Hellraiser, of course. Backdraft. The Great Escape. Blast from the Past. Oh, I used to like that movie. Soylent Green. It's people! The farts are made from people! Do you guys have any fun ones? What is your favorite movie musical? I fully expect straight dudes to flood the comment section with their favorites. Anyway, here's mine. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Listen, I know that a lot of those, musical aficionados out there might go, what? How dare thee do this? I do love movie musicals. I do. Chicago, Moulin Rouge, Hairspray, etc. Love them. I have not seen Wicked at the point I'm making this video, by the way. And for some reason, I just think that this movie may not rank so high on other people's lists of favorite musicals. Maybe I'm wrong in that thinking, but I just absolutely fucking love this movie so damn much. So it stars Johnny Depp as Sweeney Todd, and essentially this is a movie about getting revenge. Revenge against the person he believes killed his wife and abducted his daughter. Which then he ends up in contact with Mrs. Lovett, who is now the proprietor of a pie shop, a not very successful pie shop, that is in the building where his barbershop used to be. So he reopens his barbershop on the, upper floor. And his plan is to, at one point, get to the judge, the man who ruined his life, and destroy him, or kill him. Along the way, he meets people like Sacha Baron Cohen's character here, who has a rather comical musical number in this movie. He also befriends a young man named Anthony, who I had a big crush on when this movie came out. Do you recognize him? Some of you probably do. I know a lot of you have seen him before. Does this jog your memory? Uh-huh. Yeah. One. Yeah, this guy. Later goes on to play 1/Vecna. Stranger Things? Come on. Still have a crush. I always told my friends, this is the straight guy musical. This is for dudes. Because it's about blood. It's got blood and guts in it. People getting their throats cut. It's a horror movie, bro. A horror musical. Because eventually, he and Mrs. Lovett come up with this plan to kill people and put their bodies into pies. One of my favorite musical numbers from the movie is A Little Priest. It's a song about different flavors of pie. Flavors being types of people. They're singing about who would go good in a pie. A priest, a lawyer, a poet. I'm also a humongous fan of the Epiphany song. Johnny Depp has this rocker tone to his voice in this movie that I totally dug. This isn't like one of those big, colorful, flashy musicals, a whole bunch of dance numbers and a bunch of duets. Most of it's solo performances, and there's not dancing. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's a very dark, gory, bloody musical. A lot of throats being cut, a lot of bodies, a lot of people being churned up and turned into pies. And I was just in love with this movie when it came out. I loved it. I saw it 4 or 5 times in theaters. But that's mine. What's yours? What's a TV show you feel is criminally underrated? Hi. So this is mine. From. Yep, that's the name of the show. From. Now, I want to say this. I am currently, as of me filming this, still watching season 3. I was waiting for it to be done so I could binge the whole thing. Because who's got time to go week by week? I mean, I'm not patient. But yeah, it has been on for 3 seasons. It was just renewed for season 4 as well. What's it about? Now, I have seen and heard a lot of people comparing this show to Lost. And yeah, I mean, I get it. I can see the comparisons. But something that Lost had an issue with, which, by the way, the guy who played Michael on Lost is on the show from. But one of the problems Lost had is it had a hard time sticking to, I think, the story it began with. And they were kind of like figuring shit out as they went along. I feel like From has a much more cohesive and consistent story, while also remaining incredibly mysterious. But it's like not at a point where it makes you frustrated that you're not getting like all the answers, like kind of how we were with Lost. Like you almost appreciate the slow unfolding of this bizarre show and town they are in. Anyway, so basically it's about this mysterious town where everybody who got there the exact same way. They were driving down some road in various different parts of the country. They then find themselves on a road with a blocked tree, forcing them to take a shortcut, which then brings them to the town. This town. And once they're in the town, they cannot leave. Every time they try, they go in a loop. They can go straight and end up back in the same way they came in. It's some supernatural twist where they're just unable to leave this place. And the crazy part is, like I said, all of the people who were in it came from different parts of the country. So they entered this town, like some people from New York, some people from California, some people from Arizona. It's bizarre, it's weird. But to make matters worse, you can't go out at night in this town. Because at night, the creatures come out. Basically, they take the form of regular folk, and they try to get you to come outside or to get you to let them inside your home. But you can't do that because they're tricking you, because the second you let them in, they fucking go insane. They turn into this shit, and they'll eat your whole body apart. They rip you from the inside out. I don't even know what exactly you would call these creatures, but they're... And they smile! Like this! Huh? Smile 3, anyone? No? But like, they have these mysterious talismans they found that, well, if you put the talisman up inside your home, the creatures cannot enter your home because of that talisman. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it works. You have some people who have been there since they were kids. You have some people who just got there. You have mysterious children who only certain people can seem to see. Only certain people seem to see these like ghostly type figures. But like they're leading them down a path, trying to help them find a way to get out of this place. Whatever this place is. They don't even know where in the country or in the world it is. They don't know if it's some kind of like they were taken against their will somehow. They don't know if they died maybe. We don't know. But like, this is the result. If you go out at nighttime and you're out there, the creatures got free will towards you. If you're outside and you're dead, you're going to die. And they're creepy. It's got a cool cast, for the most part, relatively unknowns, or people like you've seen from like time to time. You know, I remember that person this place, I remember that person that place. Like this guy I remember from Once Upon a Time. I think he was Pinocchio. And obviously he's from Lost. But I'm probably not doing it much justice because it's a really hard show to explain, much like with Lost. But again, this is much more grounded, I guess you can say. I mean, obviously this is happening in a world of supernatural something. But what I mean is it's like level-headed. It doesn't try to go off on way too many tangents like Lost definitely fell prey to, trying to do too much. It introduced a crazy twist at the end of season 2, which I'm now just finally starting to see season 3. So again, don't spoil it for me because I'm not done watching it yet. I'm filming this on December 26th. But yeah, you can stream this show on Amazon Prime, which is where I'm watching it, if you have the MGM add-on, which I think right now I'm paying $2 a month for on top of my Amazon Prime. And then you can just watch the show, plus a whole bunch of other movies and stuff. But yeah, if you have not seen it, I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about it, but definitely it's worth a watch. It's so underrated. I feel like this show is not talked about enough. It deserves way more attention and way more love. So check it out. Check out From on MGM, Amazon Prime. Okay, great, thanks. What's a show that you would say is underrated? The answer is Funny Games, the US one, 2007. The comment comes from a video that I posted where I said, hey, guess the movie from this trailer. It's actually one of my favorite movie trailers. But yeah, this came out in 2007. It is a remake of a film that was released in 1997 by the same exact director. I believe the original film is from Austria. Now, the remake did not get so well received, which is interesting because this movie is directed by the same person who did the original one, and it is also a shot-for-shot remake. Meaning everything you see in the original, as far as I know, I haven't actually seen the original one, is a carbon copy on this. They even had the blueprints for the set of the house, and they reconstructed the house exactly. So it's just interesting how the original movie was really well received, but this one was not. Now, this is the only one I've seen, and I know I'm in a minority here, but I personally love this movie. So it is a home invasion movie starring Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. And they have their son, they're vacationing in their, I think it's like their summer home, rich, wealthy people, when they get a knock at their door, and there are two strange young men who manage to get their way inside the house. And those two men are played by Brady Corbett, who apparently, I had no idea, he is now a director, and he's like a front runner to win Best Director this year for a movie called The Brutalist, which I had never heard of until recently. I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know if he's still acting, but apparently he's directing big movies now. And it also stars Michael Pitt, and to me, he is the true star of this movie. I remember I had a big crush on him too when I first watched this movie. You may remember him from like the show Boardwalk Empire, and he's been in a lot of other things too. And I'm going to spoil this for you right now, so again, warning, you've been spoiled if you've never seen it. So the image I'm showing here is Michael Pitt. He does like a horror version of Zach Morris, where he can literally just stop at any point in the movie, turn and look directly at us, the audience, and acknowledge that we're there. And he sometimes will just kind of give us a smirk, or he'll talk to us. At one point, he literally stops everything, looks at the camera, and says, I bet you're on their side, aren't you? And then goes right back to doing what he was doing. And there is a scene, and I won't spoil what led to him doing this, so that in case you haven't seen it, but something happens where he doesn't like it. And so he finds a remote control on this coffee table and rewinds the movie. He rewinds it. The movie that he's in, that we're watching, he rewinds it back to just before the thing happened that he didn't like to happen. I have never seen that kind of shit in a movie before. It's basically to give the illusion that he is in control. But I don't know, I thought it was a really clever movie. It's definitely slow paced. Like for a home invasion horror movie, I guess, maybe psychological horror. It's not like a boom, boom, boom kind of thing. It's very slowly unravels. But it's really the performance of Michael Pitt and even Brady Corbett is really, I think for me, what lifted this movie up a lot. He's like incredibly charming, but also he's diabolical and evil. And it's like, do I like this guy or do I hate this fucking guy? But yeah, the trailer was from Funny Games, sometimes referred to as Funny Games US. And if you've never seen it, you should definitely check it out. I know you can watch the original version on HBO Max, but I believe you have to pay for this version on like Amazon Prime. It's like $4. But yeah, I don't know. Check it out if you've never seen it. It's good. I like it. What's a funny TV show that you don't think many people have seen? Here's mine. It was a show called Review that was on Comedy Central years ago. It starred Andy Daly. He plays a character named Forrest McNeil, where he is a critic. He reviews things, but not movies or TV shows or restaurants. He reviews the mundane shit that people request him to review. And no matter what, he has to do whatever is requested. He has a co-host who reads off the reviews that are sent in by viewers. He reviews, he reviews stuff like stealing, making your dream come true, best ice cream in town, and he is constantly doing these really off-the-wall things because, well, for views. He's injuring himself, he's putting his life in danger. He ruins his marriage, and my personal favorite one was from season 1 where he had to review... He had to review eating a shitload of pancakes, and he doesn't like pancakes.
There's a very loud thrumming in my ears. My blood feels very slow. Oh, God. I have now eaten 10 pancakes. And on the bright side, I can see the light at the end of this disgusting tunnel, but it has now been 45 minutes since I started eating, and the pancakes are no longer hot.
The show was just hysterical. It was so funny. It was different. It was unique. And Andy Daly, who I think at one point was on Mad TV, if I remember correctly. He's also done like voices on American Dad, Family Guy, etc. But he is fucking hilarious on this show. Because the character Forrest McNeil has got to do whatever is requested to be reviewed. No matter how horrible it is, he's got to do it. And it only lasted 3 seasons. If you have Paramount Plus, I believe you can watch it on there. It definitely kind of tapered off a little bit towards the end, but in its first season especially, was absolutely hilarious. And this is just one of those shows that I really don't hear anyone ever talk about. And that's because it got canceled because nobody was really watching it. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But I loved this character and just the shit he puts himself through. He was like a pre-TikTok TikToker, doing whatever it takes to get people to watch. But yeah, if you got Paramount Plus, I think it's also on Sling TV, and you probably can watch it on Amazon, but you probably have to pay for it, I think. But it's hysterical, and I would recommend it. It's funny. It's a really funny show. Point-and-click adventure games were basically my entire youth, and actually still exist in my life today. So if you grew up, especially in the 90s, you're probably pretty familiar with these types of games. And one of my favorite point-and-click adventure series is, of course, Gabriel Knight. So there are 3 games in this series. There's always been rumors that the 4th one's going to happen, but there's no actual, development. So Gabriel Knight is an author, and he owns a bookstore. And in Gabriel Knight 1, Sins of the Fathers, which, by the way, was recently remastered to more modern looks, he gets involved in researching these recent string of voodoo murders in New Orleans. And so, with the help of his cop buddy, Detective Mosley, he's trying to help figure out what the hell's going on, but also get information for his new book. Now, Gabriel Knight is actually voiced by Tim Curry, and his buddy, Detective Mosley, is voiced by Mark Hamill. And I think Leia Remini, however you say her name, voices Grace Nakamura. But this is like your traditional point-and-click game. You go around, you talk to characters, you collect items. Sometimes you have to go into your inventory and combine those items, right? But it's just a classic. And I played this as a kid, and I remember it kind of scared me a little bit. Then you had the sequel, Gabriel Knight, The Beast Within. These are Sierra games, by the way. So this went the way of FMV, meaning it was full motion video. So it was actual actors on sets, and you control those characters, kind of like that game Phantasmagoria that I talked about a couple weeks ago. This one's broken into 6 chapters where you play as Gabriel Knight, and you also play as his sidekick, Grace Nakamura. This game takes place in Germany, and you learn a little bit of history, kind of, like about King Ludwig II. You get to explore Neuschwanstein Castle. Obviously, they take liberties with the history, but in this game, a series of animal attacks or murders that might have been done by wolves or werewolves. And so he's trying to get to the bottom of that, while Grace is trying to learn about the history of werewolves and how King Ludwig II may have been a werewolf himself. Then we got Gabriel Knight 3, Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned. This time it went back to animation. Really great animation. They should have just stuck to the whole pixelated thing. But in this one, it's 3D, so you actually have, control of the camera, so you can, move it around the entire room and stuff. But this one's about, vampires and shit. And in this game, you also play as Gabriel and Grace. And it goes back to having Tim Curry play this voice, and Mark Hamill goes back to playing Detective Mosley. And like with all point-and-click adventure games, I mean, they're just so silly. So, when you collect inventory, remember in these games where you collect inventory, you have, shit oh, I gotta collect a ladder, I gotta collect this lamp, I gotta collect this packet of syrup. I'm gonna take this duct tape, I'm gonna put cat hair on it with the syrup so it sticks, and then I'm gonna use it as a mustache. I'm not even kidding. That's what he does. That's a part of this game you have to do. But where are they putting all this shit, right? When they have all these things? Did we ever think about that? Where are you carrying this ladder? In your back pocket? You got fucking trinkets, you got dolls, you got random honey and mustard packets, you got cat hair, a single piece of ripped duct tape, you've got diamonds. I got all this evidence somehow just shoved into your jean pockets. I don't even know how they did it. But hey, we didn't think anything of it because it's a game. So I recently replayed all the games. I believe I played them through Good Old Games, but I think you can also get them on Steam. And I believe they were a pretty cheap price, a few bucks. Each game is probably, 8-ish hours long to play. And it just brought back a lot of great memories for me. I love these games. Like, these are just some of the best point-and-click adventure games there are. They don't really make these types of games very often anymore, unfortunately, and that's just a crime. They need to go back to it, I think. We need to see more of these. So, PC people, if you're out there, keep doing this again. Let's do the FMV thing. Let's play as real people. Let's bring back the cheesy backgrounds with the obvious green screens and stuff. We reboot everything else, like all of your favorite movies. Bring back this shit, okay? Anyway, do you guys remember this series if you're old enough to remember them? If you're not old enough to remember them and you were born past when these games were even invented, you can go on Good Old Games or Steam and you can play these games and experience the things we experienced. Sure, they're not games where you're shooting people's heads off, but you might get bitten by a werewolf and have your limbs ripped off, so make sure you save your games, by the way. Okay, this isn't today's gaming. If you forget to save a game and you play for like an hour and you die, you go back to whatever game you saved last. And you're like, fuck, I played an hour's worth of this shit and I didn't save it. Save your games every 10 minutes. That's what I learned how to do. Don't fuck around with this shit. Because you never know what shenanigans might be pulled. You might die. Your computer might glitch because it's like, what the fuck are you doing playing this ancient game? We need to shut down the whole system because we don't know what this is. Save your fucking game. Best advice I could give you while playing a point-and-click adventure. Okay, great. Have fun. Enjoy them. Bye. Sharing some of my favorite movies with y'all. Up next, who doesn't love Galaxy Quest? Raise your hand. If you're raising your hand, you're an abomination. This movie came out way back in 1999. I have probably seen it 10, 15 times. I actually just watched it again today. I know I searched for it on Amazon, but I think it redirected me to Pluto TV, which is free. So yeah, it stars Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and the late and great Alan Rickman. Snape, to those of you who don't, for some reason, know. But it also has Tony Shalhoub. Look at even Dwight from The Office is in it for like a minute. And even, look at that, baby-faced Justin Long. This was his first movie role ever. That bitch doesn't age, and that's... fuck you. He's like older than I am, and I still look older than him. Anyway, so basically Galaxy Quest, if you didn't know, it's about a TV show within a movie. So Galaxy Quest is like a show from the 80s it's like basically a Star Trek show in this universe. And then they do like the whole fan fest things. People are still following the show even after it stopped airing. They have all the nerdy dudes and ladies come around in costumes to get autographs and shit, the whole thing. But anyway, these actual aliens from outer space thought that the show Galaxy Quest was Earth's historical documents and that the Galaxy Quest show was real. And so they are in some serious doo-doo and they need help from some people that they have learned about. These guys. These aliens think that these people are actually, members of this space squad, this Galaxy Quest, that their spaceship was real. They don't know. They don't realize it was a silly TV show. But it's all to help stop this guy. So these TV show characters now have to play the roles that they played on TV, but like now for realsies on a real spaceship because the aliens bring them up to space. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those like my go-to comfort movies, I guess. Like if I just need something to be on in the background or just something to just like laugh at, I'll just, Galaxy Quest is a great one. It's a comedy, it's funny, but it also has like, a good story. It's actually an inventive idea. And it has heart. It really does. And the cast is like, it's just out of this world, if you will. It even has Sam Rockwell. I forgot to take a photo of him. But yeah, the cast works really well together. They're funny. The story's original. It's different. It's just a really fun movie. Entertaining as hell. Thoroughly enjoy it. So yeah, have you guys seen it? Have you not? If you haven't, you should. It is worth it. Watch it with your kids. It's PG-13. It's not like anything bad. It's a good, family film for the most part. A little darker, but it still works as family film. Anyway, okay. Never give up. Never surrender. Who remembers this movie, huh? The Good Son? Evil has many faces. This was one of my favorite movies as a kid. It came out in 1993, so I was, 8 years old? I remember this movie kind of like just sort of freaking out the adults because it stars Macaulay Culkin fresh off of his Home Alone days where he's like this. Actually, if you really think about it, he was a psychopath in that movie. Probably ended up becoming a serial killer in his adult life. But perception was like, you know, he was like this sweet, silly, funny kid. And then The Good Son came out. It also starred Elijah Wood. I remember as growing up as a kid, I always had a big crush on Elijah Wood. So basically, Elijah Wood plays Macaulay Culkin's cousin in the movie. His mom has like just died, and his dad had to go on some long business trips, so that's why he was staying with them. And at first, he and Macaulay Culkin's character, they're getting along, but then he begins to realize that this kid is probably not normal. He might just be a fucking psychopath. He gets into tussles with big scary dogs. He has a crossbow, right, that he uses to potentially kill some animals. And I remember it was a scene in the treehouse that I remember watching this in theaters. Yeah, my parents took me to these types of movies when I was a kid. It's fine, it turned out normal-ish. But I remember hearing the audible gasps from, like, parents or adults in there because Macaulay Culkin said the fuck word.
Hey, Mark. Don't fuck with me.
Kevin! You have to understand, this was the 90s. This was different. Macaulay Culkin's like this icon for all the other kids in the 90s. And here he is being a psychopath using the word fuck. And then, okay, so spoiler alert if you've never seen the movie, so you've been warned. So Elijah Wood's character is basically trying to tell and convince Macaulay Culkin's parents that, you know, he isn't well. And the parents don't really believe him. That is until Macaulay Culkin pushes his mom over a cliff. And then the two kids are up on the cliff top wrestling. Macaulay Culkin's basically trying to kill Elijah Wood as well. But the mom, she's still there. She's climbing up that cliff. And then it ends up that the kids roll over the cliff, but she's able to grab both of them. And she's hanging on to both of them for dear life. Both begging for her to, you know, lift them up. And the mom basically realizes she can't lift them both up. She can only lift one of them up because she needs both of her hands. And so she looks at her son, Macaulay Culkin, and just says, and fucking lets him go. Fucking just drops this kid off the cliff and falls hundreds of feet and lands on some jagged rock and dies. I've always wondered, I'm not a parent, so like if you were ever in this insane hypothetical situation, knowing what you know about who he is, like what kind of kid he is, he's evil, he fucking kills animals, he tried to kill his mom, tried to kill his cousin. Like if you were in the same scenario, would you do the same thing she did? I'm curious to know. Like if that was literally her only option is to save one of them, would you have made the same decision as her? But yeah, again, it's called The Good Son. If you've never seen it, find a way to stream it. This was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I have not watched it at any point recently in my adult life, but I might need to. But yeah, this movie was controversial because of just the subject matter and given who Macaulay Culkin was at the time. Check it out if you've never seen it. Heretic is a new movie from A24 starring Hugh Grant that you can now stream on Amazon Prime. You do have to pay for it though. So here is my review of said movie. So first, of course, it's rated R. It's an hour and 51 minutes long, and it got solid reviews across the board. So it's about two young missionaries are forced to prove their faith when they knock on the wrong door and are greeted by diabolical Mr. Reed, played by Hugh Grant, becoming ensnared in his deadly game of cat and mouse. So these are the two young women that knock on his door. They are Mormons, and Hugh Grant plays the mysterious Mr. Reed, who invites the girls into his home under the pretense of them telling him about their faith. But it quickly becomes a psychological kind of puppeteering work by this guy. And spoiler alerts, by the way. And so ultimately what his character does is he is challenging the girls' faith, their religion, their belief system as a whole. He plants seeds of doubt in their faith. And he presents a scenario in which there is one true religion that started all of this, and that every single other religion is just a new iteration of the previous one. He brings up talking points about how there were other figures well before the time of Christ who sacrificed themselves, etc., etc. And what he essentially does here is he puts these girls on this path within his home and kind of manipulates them into having doubt within their faith. And the overall theme here, I think, is really kind of about, is religion really just all about control? Is it about manipulation? And I think the movie does, while it does criticize religion, you do have the side where it's kind of suggesting almost that there is positives to it. But the Hugh Grant character is Well, I mean, just, you have to see it. I don't want to give everything away. And I want to say this right here and right now. This right here is Hugh Grant's fucking moment. I know he's been acting for quite some time, and I know he kind of got steamrolled into the whole rom-com thing for a while. But this shit right here, this was, for me, his, like, tour de force performance. He was unbelievably good in this movie. He was creepy. He was sinister. He was he made the movie very unnerving. He made it tense. It was well-written dialogue that kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat while watching this. He's so good at playing this type of, is he evil, is he not evil kind of thing, you know? And while I didn't really find it to be a scary horror movie, because this is truly more psychological than anything else. This isn't about jump scares or blood and gore. This isn't about someone, you know, chasing these girls around the house with an axe or a knife. This was what, like I described, as a cat and mouse game. It's a psychological horror thriller. And it opens a dialogue, I think a healthy dialogue maybe, into the whole concept of religion. And for the most part, I think it's really, really well done. Very pleasantly surprised by it. And a lot of that hinges on just the charisma, the disturbing charisma of Hugh Grant's performance. It has a really great atmosphere to it. It's dark, it's gloomy. The production design of this home is eerie. It's classic kind of horror setting. But what sometimes you lack in a lot of horror movies is like a solid story. And you don't always need a solid story if the horror elements are good. But you have a well-told story here. Is it perfect? No. But it certainly offers a very unique perspective within the horror genre. And again, I cannot stress enough, Hugh Grant, he fucking carries this movie. Absolutely loved him in this. But in the end, I think this is definitely worth a watch, for sure. So, out of a possible 666 little wooden doll figurines for some reason, I give this 610 what's behind door number 1 scissors. So there you go. I saw the TV glow, and I don't know if I understood it. The movie is called I Saw the TV Glow. I've kept seeing this, like, the poster for this pop up all over streaming services, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't even know what it's about, but I'm going to watch it. So it's rated PG-13. It's an hour and 40 minutes long. It's labeled a sci-fi movie. I don't think that's accurate. And it was well received. Teenager Owen is just trying to make it through life in the suburbs when his classmate introduces him to a mysterious late-night TV show, a vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of reality begins to crack. See, that's describing one movie, but I feel like that description overshot its landing. Because this makes it sound like a legitimate sci-fi thing, right? Because it says a vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. That makes it sound like there's something underneath the town they live in, right? And there's some opposite world like the Upside Down or some shit from Stranger Things. That's just kind of, when I saw this description, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds really interesting. That's not what this is at all. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. I think this movie, I think it just went over my head because I didn't understand it. I mean, I got it to a point. I do think the message of this movie has something to do with learning about oneself. It's about your self-identity. I think there are even, you can make connections to like being transgender or being a part of the LGBTQIA+, on how what's kind of buried inside of us, we may never let out because of the world around us. In this case, they live in this small town in the late 90s. People aren't as accepting as, we are maybe nowadays. So I think that's the part I got. I think I just personally kind of felt almost misled by this. Because the description of it and kind of the posters and everything, it makes it sound like it's an actual sci-fi style, maybe drama. But this is more close to like one of those obscure indie art house movies that don't really appeal to a large audience. I think it was just too deep, maybe? I don't know. I will say that this TV show that these two friends kind of bond over, It's clearly referencing shows from like our childhood in the 90s, shows we watched on Nickelodeon or the CW, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, shows like that, because the movie takes place, or at least at first takes place in the mid to late 90s. And so I definitely see the appreciation for the shows we used to watch as kids featured in this movie. And also, the entire time, the main actor of the film, this guy here, I was like, God, he looks so familiar and he sounds so familiar. And I realized he was one of the characters in the video game The Quarry. He played the character Ryan in The Quarry. And it's actually really kind of incredible how accurate that game was able to capture the actors portraying them, because it's identical. Anyway, that was a side note. He was excellent in the movie. She was very good. I definitely am someone who appreciates the art house indie type movies. I'm a big Oscar movie type snob. I love those types of things. And I kind of blame myself here, because I went into this expecting it to be something unbelievably different, and I got something way the opposite. And so it was just like, I don't know. There are elements, like I would say this definitely has the elements of being an excellent movie, but I do think it kind of gets maybe a little bogged down in being too much, like reaching down too deep, because I think it might confuse people. Because in the ending especially is, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie, the movie ends very abruptly. It ends after he has this like massive panic attack. He cuts his chest open. He sees the glow of the TV in his chest. Then he just seals himself back up and goes back out to work, apologizing to everyone. And then it ends. And I think what that was because at that point he's an old man. I think that was kind of the way the movie was saying that his character ultimately didn't embrace his true identity and who he truly was, because the circumstances of which he grew up, the place he lived, he says at one point towards the end of the movie, it's time to be a man, time to be an adult. And so he was scared about, reaching in and finding out who he was, where she managed to escape it and embraced who she was. But the whole element of this TV show, is it real? Like, they try to do like this Matrix style thing. Like, the world they're living in that we're seeing is kind of like, they're trapped. And that the TV show they bonded over was actually real. And it was those two people in the TV show. And she tries to convince him, you need to bury yourself and you'll wake up. I don't know. I'm very torn on it, because I think this was a good movie, but when you were expecting something different, and that's a lot on it's like my bad, you kind of just like let all the air out. I don't know. I know this is a really long video. I apologize, but if you've seen this movie, what are your thoughts? Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I just completely an idiot? And if this was some, brilliant movie, or was it just utterly stupid? I don't know. If you want to watch it, it is available to watch on Max, HBO Max. Juror number 2 is a new crime drama you can now stream on Max, HBO. So I just watched this. So it's rated PG-13. It's an hour and 54 minutes long. It got really, really good reviews. Juror number 2 follows family man Justin Kemp, who, while serving as a juror in a high-profile murder trial, finds himself struggling with a serious moral dilemma, one he could use to sway the jury verdict and potentially convict or free the accused killer. So certainly, and obviously those of you who know I do the true crime stuff on my other TikTok page, this is a movie that really, really intrigued me. And if you are also into true crime, and I'm sure many of you are, I really think that this is a fantastic movie for you to watch. This movie was such a conundrum. Like, it really makes you think. It stars the absolutely gorgeous, right, Nicholas Hoult, and also Toni Collette, who I love. You know what's wild is that Toni Collette and Nicholas Hoult, right, they're in this movie together. A little over 20 years ago, they played mother and son in the movie About a Boy. That came out in 2002. Jesus, I was like 16 or 17 years old. My God, that's I'm getting old. I don't like how fast time goes by. But here they are now, 20 plus years later, both donning American accents It also has J.K. Simmons. Kiefer Sutherland is also in this movie. But I don't want to spoil anything. But I will give you a spoiler alert in case I do say something that may be a little too much. So you've been warned. But he plays juror number 2 for this murder trial. And he hadn't heard about the case beforehand. Then as the trial starts, he begins to realize something. He thinks he might, let's just say, remember something. And it's through that makes this whole movie just so intriguing, especially in the world of true crime, where the concept of reasonable doubt plays a massive role when you are on trial. And in this case, is the bad guy really the bad guy? Do they have the wrong person? The movie is masterfully crafted by Clint Eastwood, who I guess this is supposed to be his final film. But what I love what he did with this movie is that he doesn't give you like a clear-cut answer. It definitely has a very ambiguous ending, one that I think you as the audience are meant to kind of interpret how you want to. But he also doesn't like spoon feed you, the solution here. Because the solution, the answer in the movie, it just isn't that simple. And it makes you think about actual cases that we have seen in the news where people have been acquitted for crimes that it's very likely they committed, or found guilty of crimes that we know they didn't commit. And so the description of this movie is perfect. It's a moral dilemma, and it is just done so well. And even at the end, I'm like, I don't know what the right answer is. The cast is fantastic. They really are. The writing, the pacing, everything about this was just done so well. And I, for one, personally, I really love this movie. It really kind of, it dug deep into my true crime brain. And it really does give you kind of a realistic insight into our judicial system. It ain't perfect. It does not always work. And at the same time, do you want it to work? In some instances, you know what I mean? Like, do we find people guilty of crimes just because they're a bad person? Even if there's enough doubt that they didn't commit the crime, but hey, they're a shit person, so who cares? I mean, that's a situation that we have dealt with many times in our history. And the opposite, he's a really good person, a really good individual, done nothing wrong, so let's let him slide. But is that the right thing? Anyway, I rambled on too long. But anyway, juror number 2, I found to be absolutely fantastic. I give this a 10 out of 10. And you can now stream it on HBO Max. If you don't have HBO, I think you can still stream it on Amazon Prime Video. But you do have to pay for it in that case. But it is definitely worth the watch, in my opinion. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell. Krampus will rip your skull out of your fucking heads. Hi, happy holidays. Welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review a Christmas horror movie. Today I decided to watch the 2015 movie Krampus, because I had actually never seen it before. So it's rated PG-13, it was released in 2015, it's an hour and 38 minutes long, it got meh reviews, While the holiday season represents the most magical time of year, ancient European folklore warns of Krampus, a horned beast who punishes naughty children at Christmas time. When dysfunctional families squabbling causes young Max to lose his festive spirit, it unleashes the wrath of a fearsome demon. As Krampus lays siege to the Engel home, Mom, played by Toni Collette, and Pop, played by Adam Scott, sister and brother must band together to save one another from a monstrous fate. Yeah, so basically the first act of the movie is like a dysfunctional Christmas holiday movie, and then it quickly turns into a slaughterfest. But it is PG-13, so this is not a bloody slaughterfest. It's got crazy-ass sentient clown dolls. It got this bitch. It's got alive gingerbread men. Yeah. And these elves, which I'm pretty sure are some like rebooted version of the creatures from the movie Troll 2. And it stars one of my personal favorite actresses, Toni Collette. She is so delightful. I love her. This is the little boy in question who basically says, fuck Christmas, and rips up his Christmas note, his letter to Santa. And that makes Krampus come and say, hey bitch, you shouldn't do that. It's got Adam Scott, okay? Yeah, so what else could you ask for? You got crazy ass gingerbread men come flying at people, trying to kill them. It's got big-ass clown dolls eating children, swallowing them whole, ripping people up chimneys, some weird snow snake thing sucking people into the ground. Christmas! And then it has a pretty, I don't know, I guess I would call it a pretty ambiguous ending. I think it's an ending that's left up for your interpretation. Me being cynical, I like to think that it had an unhappy ending, but some think it had a happy ending. But I feel better knowing if it was an upsetting ending. Because, you know, Christmas! It's a fun movie. I mean, listen, this is not... Some movies are meant to be taken seriously, and some movies are not. This movie's not meant to be taken seriously. It's meant to just be silly. And it is, like, deliberately comedic, and it is funny. It's entertaining, it's fun. It's not great. It's really not awful. But I could see myself watching this movie from this point moving forward every Christmas. I just could. Just like with Violent Night, which is a much better movie than this, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's just it's a silly, goofy, worthy Christmas horror movie. It could have been better, but it also could have been way worse. So you have that, like, okay. I watched it on HBO Max today. I think you can also watch it on Peacock if I remember correctly, which my memory is non-existent, so out of a possible 462 sleigh bells, I give it 399 demon children being swallowed up by clowns. So, there you go. You all remember what we had before DVDs and just around the time VHSs were going out of style? Do you remember? Young people won't even know what we're talking about, but think records, but for movies. Yeah, y'all remember these? Yeah, this isn't a person with really tiny hands holding a CD. That's a normal person holding what we would call a laser disc. Yeah, this is what happened just before DVDs. We were like, maybe we can make these a lot smaller, maybe? And these things were like fucking dinner plates, bigger than dinner plates. You could decapitate someone with this thing if you threw it like a frisbee. Trust me, I did it a few times. Like, look at the cases. I just found this picture online. It's not mine. In comparison to the size of the couch, look at how big these things were. Yeah, look at these tall-ass things. You need to, like, buy a specialized bookshelf just to fit that shit. And then, of course, you had your Laserdisc player. See? Remember that? Oh, man. Those were good times. Then some wise guy took that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids machine and shrunk that shit. And then the $14,000 Laserdisc players went out of style. And then DVD players came out and they used to cost like $1 billion. Now I can go down to the freaking flea market and buy one for 32 cents. Anyway, just thought I'd walk you down memory lane to those of you who are old like me. There's frogs raining from the sky. Hi, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I talk about some old movies that I love. And today, I'm talking about the movie Magnolia, 1999. So, it's rated R. It is a long movie. It's 3 hours and 8 minutes long. Got fantastic reviews across the board. On one random day in the San Fernando Valley, a dying father, a young wife, a male caretaker, a famous lost son, a police officer in love, a boy genius, an ex-boy genius, a game show host, and an estranged daughter will each become part of a dazzling multiplicity of plots, but one story. There is no lead actor of the film. It consists primarily all of supporting characters, including the I love dearly Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Tom Cruise, and for me personally, his best performance he's ever done. Tom Cruise was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the 2000 Academy Awards for this film. It was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I believe this was the last movie that Tom Cruise was nominated for an Oscar for acting. So the entire movie takes place over the course of a single day. Pretty much all of your primary characters, the majority of them never actually meet in the movie, and their stories are separate, but at the same time, they are intertwined. It's kind of like a really big game of 6 degrees of separation. Different stories, but you can connect all of these people together in some way, shape, or form. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, the 11-time Oscar-nominated writer and director of Boogie Nights, Licorice Pizza, There Will Be Blood, and the movie is I just think it's fucking fantastic. It's an intertwining story about love, forgiveness, fame. It has themes of like religion, family estrangement. And I do know that this is not a movie for everyone. As a matter of fact, I think Roger Ebert from Siskel and Ebert, may he rest in peace, I think he named Magnolia his worst movie of 1999, while pretty much everyone else was praising it. It's an eccentric movie. It's eclectic. It's definitely artsy. It's got one hell of a cast. I mean, I only just named a few of them. There's a whole bunch of people in this. And it has one of my favorite Julianne Moore moments.
What exactly is wrong with you dogs? Motherfucker. What?
Motherfucker.
What are you talking
Fucking asshole. Who the fuck do you think you are? I come in here, you don't know me, you don't know who I am, what my life is, and you have the balls, the decency to ask me a question about my life? Fuck you too! Don't you call me lady! I come in here, I give these things to you, you check, you make your phone calls, look suspicious, ask questions. I'm sick! I have sickness all around me, and you fucking ask me my life? What's wrong? I'm using death in your bed, in your house.
Completely robbed of an Oscar nomination, in my opinion. And then it has that very iconic ending, which is something that Paul Thomas Anderson says was kind of designed to basically connect all the stories in a very different way. If you've never seen Magnolia, I think you can rent it or buy it for like $3 on Amazon Prime. But I would probably put Magnolia in like my top 10, maybe top 20 movies of all time list. It's different. It's not for everyone, but I thought it was brilliant. Malcolm in the Middle is coming home, baby. Oh, technically right now, Mikey's in the middle. That was stupid. Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle, which was, a show from my teenage years that premiered, I think, in 2000. It's officially coming back for a brief time. Malcolm in the Middle revival is set at Disney Plus with Frankie Muniz, Bryan Cranston, and Jane Kaczmarek returning. I haven't seen much of Jane Kaczmarek since Malcolm in the Middle, but she was criminally underappreciated as Lois on Malcolm in the Middle. She was nominated for many Emmys for it, but never won, and that was just that's a crime. Obviously, Bryan Cranston is still a humongous deal to this day, and it's really cool that he's coming back as Hal. And you wouldn't have Malcolm in the Middle without Malcolm. Frankie Muniz, who I know is doing, I think he's in a band now. I feel like he was living here in Arizona for some time, or still is, I'm not sure. But he hasn't really done much acting since kind of all of this ended. But yeah, he's coming back too. It's going to be by the original creator of the show, and Disney has ordered 4 new episodes of the sitcom. So again, it's not like a huge, going to be a full TV season type thing. Possibly more of a mini-series. I guess the plot is, per the official logline, Malcolm and his daughter are drawn into the family's chaos when Hal and Lois demand his presence for their 40th wedding anniversary party. There is yet to be any mention of if Justin Burfield, who played Reese, or Eric Purr Sullivan, who played Dewey. Dewey's 33 fucking years old now. What? Oh... If that didn't make me feel fucking old, God, it's really been that long? But anyway, there's no mention of Justin Burfield, Eric Purr Sullivan, or Christopher Masterson reprising their roles for this revival show. So I don't know if they're still trying to work on getting them back, or if they've already said, no, we're not coming back. I don't know. Isn't Christopher Masterson the brother of Danny Masterson, right? That Danny Masterson? Yeesh. Anyway, I was totally excited when I saw this news this morning, and so I wanted to share it. Because, hell yes, I fucking loved Malcolm in the Middle. As many people, millennials especially, who are in my age range, I'm sure can also relate. Lois, Jane Kaczmarek, oh god, she fucking carried that show. And Bryan Cranston as Hal, I mean, he did that just before Breaking Bad. Talk about polar fucking opposite roles. It was just so good. I know Bryan Cranston, Frankie Muniz, and Jane Kaczmarek had all been nominated for multiple Emmys for their roles on the show. The show was nominated for Best Comedy, I think, a couple times maybe. So here's hoping they can bring some of that same magic back, and I'm just so excited for it. Talking about my favorite movies. Next up, the brilliant Memento, directed by Christopher Nolan. This was one of his very first major movies. This is a movie that when I saw it, I had no fucking idea what was happening. But upon a second viewing, I was like, my god, this is one of the best movies my eyes have ever seen. This is a movie that requires 2 viewings at least. I'm not shitting you on this one if you've never seen it. So there will be spoilers in this, kind of. So just be warned. I know you can stream this on various places these days. It came out way back in like 2000 or something. So it's rated R, it's an hour and 56 minutes long, and you can see that clearly it got some very incredible reviews. This is amazing for Rotten Tomatoes. So Guy Pearce plays a character who, him and his wife were attacked allegedly in their home, and his wife was raped and killed. And he got an injury that created short-term memory loss. And so now he's on a mission to find the person who killed his wife. But the short-term memory loss creates issues. So every time he gets a clue, he tattoos that clue on his body so it's permanent. And right across his chest here, it says, John G. raped and murdered my wife. He meets characters like this guy here, Teddy, played by Joe Pantoliano. I don't know how to say his name. He meets a woman who was played by Carrie Ann Moss, who you may recognize from the Matrix movies. But here's why this movie is so unique. The short-term memory loss he experiences is basically a character in this movie. So the movie is told in these like several minute long chunks of time, but the movie is told backwards. This is the only time I've ever seen this done in a movie, ever. The story is unfolding from end to beginning. So the opening scene is technically the finale. And then as each scene progresses, towards the end of that scene, you get a snippet of the previous scene to kind of, connect them. I know it sounds confusing, but once you watch this, then watch it a second time, you're like, whoa, oh my God. So we don't, as an audience, really care how the story ends. It's really more about how the story began. And it has, I would consider, kind of a twist ending when we realize the mission he's been on this whole time. Well, I mean, I don't want to ruin it, but this is one of the most surreal experiences you'll ever have watching a movie. It is unbelievably unique. I don't know if we'll ever see a movie try this type of thing again. And I think only Christopher Nolan could have pulled this off, really. The guy does a lot of mind-bending shit, and this is one of his masterpieces. And it's probably one of his most unknown movies. Because then he does like The Prestige, and that leads him into movies like Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Oppenheimer, etc., etc. The entire cast is great. The acting is top-notch. The storytelling is, If you have never seen Memento, you should watch it. It is a genuinely phenomenal experience as a movie watching experience. So yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies, probably in my top 3. Have you guys seen it? What do you think? These are movies you should only ever watch under Rifftrax. Under no circumstances should you ever watch these films without Rifftrax. Because if you do, it's like watching that tape from The Ring. In 7 days, you will die. Fungicide. Or fungicide? Don't really know. Basically a mad scientist, he creates something and he accidentally drops it in the dirt, and that creates gigantic killer mushrooms. And there are scenes where people are fist fighting. They're fist fighting giant mushrooms. They're fighting them with swords. Oh boy. Okay. Next. This is the stupidest fucking movie. The Paradise Motel. It's about this lady. Oh, Mike, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. She looks like one of those scary porcelain dolls your parents used to have in their bedroom that came to life. And she talks like this the whole movie. I don't know what it's about. It's just the stupidest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. She's like escaping her abusive husband, and she picks like 2 different hitchhiking ladies. But then she picks him up and then drops him off like 50 feet from where she picks him up, and somehow they all end up in the whole same motel or restaurant or bar or what, I don't know. And then there's like random murders. Next. Suburban Sasquatch. Oh my God, this movie got approved by someone. It had a budget. It's about Bigfoot Sasquatch guy who comes to life. I don't really know where he came from. And he can only be stopped by an indigenous woman who's got bows and arrows, and it's got 2 bumbling cops who are... Oh, and the Sasquatch, he just makes this noise. He goes... He just rips people's arms off. Oh, it's so bad. Well, of course. I mean, this one, obviously, you can never watch this movie without Rifftrax, because just don't. I know people always bring up the, I did not hit her, I did not line. But one of my favorite lines from this movie is when one of the characters' mom says, well, I got the test results back. It's definitely breast cancer. What? He just says it so nonchalantly. Oh boy. Yeah, Ouija shark. Ouija shark. Somehow a woman finds a weird looking Ouija board in the ocean. Her and her friends use it and it summons the ghost of a shark. Goes around killing people. How do people get these things made? How? So yeah, if you pay the, I think, $5 a month for the Rifftrax app, some of these movies you can watch as part of their program. And they're a hoot. Okay, let's see one of these tiered ranking thing. What does the S stand for? Super cool, probably? Okay. The Shining. Oh, okay. We're going to put that at A for awesome. Cars. K-A-R-S, Cars for kids. C. No, I said C, puta. There we go. Captain America Civil War. I'm indifferent. Sorry, Marvel nerds. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh, that's a classic. We'll put it at a third B. I'm not. Star Wars Force Awakens. I'm not a Star Wars person. Sorry about it. I said here. Bitch. What the fuck? Bitch. What the fuck are we What game is this? Oh, okay. I'm supposed to put it there. Cars 2? Go fuck yourself. Go away. Cars? Nope. Okay. Apparently nothing can go in this one spot. Apparently it's... No. Stupid. Fucking fuck. Wizard of Oz. Can I put you there? Can I put you there? Can I put you there? Can I put motherfucking titballs? Amelie. I have never seen it, so we're gonna throw you in the garbage. Throw you in the garbage. Throw you in the... Nope, can't do it. Oh, hi, you're over there now. Okay. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Ooh, I do love that movie. We'll put you there. Spider-Man. It's definitely not an S movie. We'll put you... Oh, that one can go there? Oh, wait, so I gotta put Amalama in the number 1? No. No. I refuse. You stay over there where you belong. In the sideways trash bin. Can I move another movie? Can I say, let's see, The Shining is... No, fuck in my life. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Nope. Tits! Okay. Well, this was a disaster. Not a beautiful one either. Sorry, Kelly Clarkson. Okay, let's see how my 2025 is going to go. I'm going to start having hearts in my eyes. That can be kind of painful. I'm going to get sick from that because you're not supposed to have hearts in your eyes. But it's hilarious, though. It's hilarious that I have that. And then I'm going to fly a plane into the ocean. So, I hear Mitch McConnell. Jesus. Anyway, what is your favorite foreign language film? I'll go first. Pan's Labyrinth is one of, in my opinion, one of the best foreign language films I've ever seen. Came out a long time ago, and it still holds. And it's a Guillermo del Toro movie. If you've never seen it, it came out back in 2006. It's 2 hours long. It's rated R. It is described as basically a rated R fantasy movie for adults. It takes place in 1944 Spain. Young Ophelia and her ailing mother arrive at the post of her mother's new husband, a sadistic army officer who is trying to quell a guerrilla uprising. While exploring an ancient maze, Ophelia encounters the fawn Pan, who tells her that she is a legendary lost princess and must complete 3 dangerous tasks in order to claim immortality. And it got incredible reviews. It was nominated for 6 Oscars. It won 3 of them. It was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film. But this movie is just stunning on the eyes. It is one of the most beautiful movies that I've seen. Even after all of these years. The production design, the visual effects, the cinematography, everything about this movie is damn near perfect. This was actually the first foreign language film I ever watched. That was back at a time I was like, oh, I gotta read the whole movie. But then I'm like, okay, that's not even that bad at all. It's a story that really kind of tugs at you at the heart. You know, it's heartbreaking. It's incredibly well written. Guillermo del Toro is an absolute, he's a masterful filmmaker. He is definitely a filmmaker that really focuses heavily on visuals while also telling a really great story. And he managed to get Mitch McConnell, back when he was in his early 200s, to be one of the stars of the film, which was actually, it's pretty cool. This guy is the guy with the eyes on his hands. This dude was fucking freaky back in 2006 when I saw it. But yeah, Pan's Labyrinth is like a spectacle. It really is. It's a story about, you know, life and death. It has like a message of you know, good and evil, about human morality. This movie is just, I mean, it's a fucking experience. And it's an experience that I think everybody should have at least once. I believe you have to rent it or buy it on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere else though. And I think it's only a couple of bucks on Prime. But yeah, if you've never seen it, you should absolutely find a way to watch this movie. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. But anyway, do you have a favorite foreign language film, and what is it? So I just finished watching the show The Penguin, which was on HBO or Max. And yeah, this was a fucking great show. Like, holy shit. Prefacing this by saying I am not like a comic book person. I don't know much at all about the Batman lore. No, Batman is not in this show whatsoever. But this show takes place, I guess, 7 or so days after the final scene of The Batman, this movie, which I did see this one. And I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I loved Paul Dano in this movie. But it also has the Penguin. So the show is in this particular Batman universe. There's a lot of different Batman universes that it's so confusing. But it stars Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Yes, this is Colin Farrell. If you needed a reminder on who Colin Farrell was, same guy. Let me tell you, he is barely recognized. He's not even recognizable at all, really.
He talks like this with, you know, I want to commit a murder. So it doesn't even really sound like Colin Farrell.
That was a horrible impression. I apologize. Actually, no, I do hear Colin Farrell's, you know, actual voice kind of in there, but he does a fucking great job with this. Like, holy shit. Talk about getting lost in a character. My goodness. But it's Kristen Milioti, I think is how you say her name. Wow, she, in my opinion, steals the entire show. She plays Sophia Falcone. And really the show is about basically taking power in Gotham, right? Controlling the drug trade. You got gang versus gang. Then you got the Penguin here kind of in the middle trying to play both sides, but in order to kind of put himself on top. The show looks amazing. I mean, the visual effects, the set design, everything is just stunning. Obviously, the team who did the makeup on the show, give them all the awards. I think when shows like, or when this type of thing occurs, right? When you get like a show based on a villain, because, you know, the Penguin is a villain in the Batman universe. But when they're the sole focus of the show, it's like, are we supposed to like them? Or are we rooting for them? Or are we supposed to hate them this whole time? It does sometimes get a little confusing. But spoiler alert, I'm not going to say actually what happens, but any hopes you have of like, oh, the Penguin might turn out to be a likable, good person. No, that's done by the final episode. No, he's a fucking monster. I was just worried that they were going this weird direction of like, oh, okay, we're fans of the Penguin. So when Batman 2 comes out, we're going to like him or what? But yeah, no, by the end you're like, okay, he's a fucking villain. Okay, we get it. There's just a really kind of very devastating, heartbreaking, borderline shocking scene right in the final, you know, moments of the show. Which, by the way, that season finale, fuck, dude, that's how you fucking do it. That's how you do a season finale right there. That's how you wrap up a whole season with a pretty little bow. Because it ends at a point where you're like, okay, if they don't have a season 2, which there's no, I believe, current plans as of right now for them to have a season 2. It has a beginning, middle, and end. But also you can see it continuing on because they left some things open. But also those things could be carried into the Batman 2 movie. But, you know, who knows at this point.
I also love how they say the word moida. I'm gonna moida you. The city will be mine after I moida everyone.
That's a horrible impression. I apologize, Colin Farrell. The show was recently nominated for, I think, 3 Golden Globes. Colin Farrell Kristen Milioti were both nominated for their performances, and the show was nominated for Best Miniseries. And I think it also got a bunch of Critics' Choice nominations as well, and all very deserving. This is a really fucking good show. It's dark. It's fast-paced. It moves pretty quickly. It's only 8 episodes. Each episode is about an hour-ish long. And this is coming from someone who's not like, I'm not a Batman nerd. I'm not a comic book nerd. I don't know a lot about the history, so I have no idea if shit's accurate or not. So I'm coming from it from that perspective, and I thought it was a great crime series. Definitely worth a watch in my opinion. And if you have HBO Max, you can watch it on there now. All 8 episodes are now available. Not a sponsored post, but anyway, there you go. Psycho test. Are you a psycho? Let's find out if I am or not. Hot shower, cold shower? Hot shower. Oh, this thing. Ow. Cornflakes, then milk? Or I'm guessing milk and then cornflakes. Oh, for God's sakes. This should give you the death sentence. I mean, let's just be real. Cornflakes and then milk, even though it's actually Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm not really a fan of breaking my phone in half, so I'll say the iPhone. Don't care about your ex, stalk your ex. What? I don't have... I love fuck you, piece of shit. Oh my God, I love my mom. I cooked your favorite meal. Why is she always getting on my nerves? I cooked your favorite meal. That's fucking rude, bruh. Online shopper, store... Oh God, Jesus, online shopper. Who goes to places? Like, why do you go to places? Who ever chooses that answer should burn in Hades. Love dogs. Being with friends. Oh, being alone. Hot water teabag. Teabag hot water. I don't drink tea, so in the middle. Headbutt in the middle. Nope. Oh, that hurt. Okay, well, what's the appropriate answer? I don't fucking know. The hot water teabag? I don't know. You're over-friendly? The fuck I am, you stupid piece of shit. Call me over-friendly. I will stab a bitch. Call me over-friendly. But at least I'm not a fucking psycho, so that's something. Red One is a new Christmas action movie that you can now stream on Amazon Prime if you have the Prime subscription. It's rated PG-13, it's 2 hours and 2 minutes long, and I don't think I've ever seen such polar, like Polar Express, you know, North Pole, opposites between critics and normal folk. Critics hated this fucking movie, but the people, us, loved it. So, after Santa Claus, codenamed Red One, is kidnapped, the North Pole's head of security, played by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter, played by Chris Evans, in a globe-trotting, action-packed mission to save Christmas. Santa Claus is played by J.K. Simmons, who's always fantastic. We also get a little bit of Krampus action. But yeah, I mean, I think I side more with the normal movie-going folk on this one. I mean, I watched it yesterday on Amazon, and I thought it was enjoyable. It was entertaining. I mean, it's not anything special. I don't know, it's fun, it's silly, it's kind of a different take on a Christmas movie. You know, an action movie with fight sequences and stuff like that. It's a little different. I certainly think that this would be like a really fun movie just for like the family to sit around and watch. Like I know it's PG-13, but there's not like any blood or gore or anything like that. Just a pretty standard action movie where they're, you know, fighting giant snowmen. Why not? The cast was great, you know, I enjoyed all of them. It's just really kind of just pure popcorn entertainment. I don't really know what else the critics would have wanted from this. Like, this is a movie that's not trying to win awards or be anything like profound. It's just a fucking family action movie. I mean, and for what that is, it succeeds in my opinion. I mean, certainly this would never be on my top 10, top 20 action movies or anything like that, but I don't know, it was entertaining. It kept my attention, it was fun, it was silly, it was goofy. I laughed a couple times. I don't know, I liked it, didn't love it, I just liked it, you know? So, out of a possible 126 Yuletide logs, I give this 81 sentient talking polar bear guys. So, there you go. So, Rickey Henderson tragically passed away the other day at the age of 65. To those who don't know, he was an MLB player. He played, I think, throughout 25 seasons, which is insane to think about. He's the all-time stolen bases leader, the all-time runs leader. the all-time leadoff home runs leader. The dude's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. But I wanted to share a moment that I personally will always remember in my head because I was there for it.
Serve it up. And a fly ball, right field. Is it going to fall? Is it going to fall? There it is! There it is! Number 3,000 for Rickey Henderson. And the Padres come streaming out of the dugout to congratulate their teammate doing his first at bat. Has garnered his three.
So that was Rickey Henderson getting his 3,000th career hit, which, again, if you don't know MLB, that is a very, very rare thing, that a player can accumulate 3,000 plus base hits over their career. I think only the 33 players have done it in the history of baseball. 33. Baseball's been around for over 100 years. And I was there for his. His 3,000th hit came on the final day of the season that year. This was the year of 9/11, so the baseball season was postponed a little bit. But it was on October 7th, 2001. And so one of my favorite possessions that I still own to this day, I probably haven't taken very good care of it, but so it's this little plaque. That's Tony Gwynn. And you can see I still have there I inverted it. So you can see October 7th, 2001, San Diego Padres versus Colorado Rockies. This was at Qualcomm Stadium. But they gave these to everyone in attendance. Because not only did we all get to see Rickey Henderson's 3,000th hit, we were also there to see Tony Gwynn's final baseball game. Tony Gwynn is an absolute legend, especially in San Diego. He's considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. I mean, he was pretty much a hero of mine when I was a kid. I grew up watching this guy play baseball, and it was just it's just the coolest thing ever. Sadly, he passed away several years ago as well. But when that game ended, Tony Gwynn would, give his big kind of farewell speech to the Padres because it was his final game ever. And he spent a portion of that speech talking about Rickey Henderson and his 3,000th hit and how cool that was. And as a teenager, I remember this being a super emotional thing because Tony Gwynn especially, I mean, he meant the world to San Diego. You could not have met a nicer guy. Rickey Henderson, I know he had a personality. He talked about himself in the third person. He was eclectic, but he was a fucking legendary ball player. And I'll just always remember that I was there with these two dudes playing in the same game. Tony Gwynn pinch hit in his final game, and he grounded out. I don't know if Trevor Hoffman pitched that game, but if I did, that's 3 Hall of Famers I would have seen in one game. But yeah, I don't know. Just rest in peace to Rickey Henderson. That will always be a moment that I will remember forever. Do I think Santa Claus is fake? Yes. Whenever my dogs get something throughout the month of December, do I tell them it's from Santa Claus? Also, yes. What is one of the most satisfying movie scenes you've ever seen? I'll go first. Because it's TikTok, viewer discretion's advised, even though it's just a movie. It's not real TikTok. But here we go. Yeah, I had to put a little blurry thing over that last part because, TikTok. But the death of Miss Carmody from The Mist was one of the most delicious moments ever. Now, I hate when I used to go to movie theaters, I hated when people they cheer in the audience when they're watching a movie. Who the fuck is listening to your cheering? Nobody. The actors don't know you're cheering for them. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Hate that shit. Except for this one occasion. When this movie first came out in theaters in 2007, oh my god, it's been so long. I mean, this character was so vile and so hated by pretty much everyone. And that's a testament to Marcia Gay Harden because she was fucking brilliant in this movie. She really was. One of the most underrated performances ever. That when she finally got her comeuppance, the entire audience in the theaters, and I saw it twice in theaters, both times, went fucking apeshit crazy, cheering, hooting and hollering. And that was the one time I was like, no, go ahead, cheer, because that shit was delightful. If you've never seen The Mist, it's a great movie. It really is. The ending is a little controversial, but we can all agree that moment, that her end, it was a beautiful thing. Anyway, what's a scene for you? What's a movie or TV scene where one actor completely steals the show? Here's one that I love. So this is from the movie Doubt, which came out in 2008. It starred Meryl Streep, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams. And then there's Viola Davis as well. The premise is that Meryl Streep is the principal of a Catholic school, and she becomes concerned about the strange relationship between the priest, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, and one of the young students. He had given this young student some altar wine in a private session. And so now Meryl Streep thinking, what else is going on here? She's trying to get to the bottom of it and get him removed from the school. All 4 primary characters in this movie, or actors in this movie, were all nominated for Oscars. So Best Actress, Best Actor, and then Viola Davis and Amy Adams were both nominated for Best Supporting Actress. It is a really fantastic movie. I really do love this movie. But there is one scene in particular where it's difficult for anyone to outshine Meryl Streep, but in a 6 or 7 minute sequence, which is pretty much the only screen time Viola Davis really has in this movie, she far and away just completely stole the show from a juggernaut like Meryl Streep. It's a completely devastating scene. Viola Davis is the mother of the young boy in question. Not only is she the mother to a young black boy in the 60s at a Catholic school with primarily white students, but there's also some implications that he may be gay. And you have a moment in the scene where Meryl Streep is telling you, like, I think there is something bad going on here with this priest and your son. And she just says, let him have him then. Because the kid has a bad father who beats him. This is a mother who just wants her son to survive to get to high school, because going to a regular high school, in the 60s could have been very dangerous for him. And you can see she portrays the heartbreak so incredibly well in this scene that she's even saying these words. But it's just such a powerful moment. If you've never seen it, I think you can watch it on Paramount Plus and maybe Amazon, I think. But yeah, I love this movie, but Viola Davis she stole the entire movie in just her brief 7 minute scene.
Jeff, mate, go downstairs, make sure he doesn't turn around. You come with me. Hey. Fuck you.
Trying to impersonate bad movie line deliveries. This is from the movie Session 9, a horror movie. Hey. Fuck you. No, that was too scary. Hey. Fuck you. Wah! That's the wrong David Caruso thing, sorry. Hey. Fuck you. Nope, this wasn't friendly. Fuck you. No, that sounded almost French. Hey, your mother's a motherfucking whore, you stupid son of a fucking motherfucking bitch. I may have ad-libbed that. He didn't do that in the movie. Hey, fuck you. Huh? That's not an invitation. Hey, sit and spin, you motherfucker. Pull it together, Mike. Pull it together, Mike. Pull it together, Mike. Hey. I actually enjoyed this movie, by the way, Session 9. It's a horror movie if you've never heard of it. It's just this one line. It's just, hey. Fuck you! What? Hi, Kermit the Frog here. Fuck you, huh? Oh, hey you, bud. Go fuck yourself. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. You fucking knew! Oh, that was a callback. You come with me. Hey. Fuck you. You dragged it out too long. Hey. Fuck you. What? Hey. Fuck you. No. Hey. It's good. Hey. Fuck you. Thank you. Thank you. This was not a lot of work. Thank you. What's a TV show that had a fantastic first season but completely lost you after that? I'll go first. HBO's Westworld. Yeah. The first season of this show is still one of my all-time favorite singular television seasons of any show ever. If you've never seen it or heard about it. So this character, Robert Ford, played by Anthony Hopkins, runs a theme park. It's a Western style theme park. It's not really like a park with rides and stuff. You basically pay a whole bunch of money to experience the Western era, and you are interacting with people that aren't actually people. The characters you are intermingling with are actually called hosts. They are what is described as biomechanical robots, but they look and sound exactly like humans. The main host and the star of the show is played by Evan Rachel Wood, and over the course of the season, she's by the way, spoiler alert, so there you go. Over the course of the season, she is slowly becoming self-aware. Because what the people who pay to go to this park are allowed to do is they're allowed to just shoot these people in old-time saloon shootouts and stuff like that. Because the hosts don't actually die, they're robotic. They get taken back to the shop, they're fixed, and they're put right back out there. However, these hosts are becoming, like I said, more self-aware. The first host that really has the whole, what really am I moment is played brilliantly by Tandue Newton. She is so fucking good in this show. She's by far my favorite character in the show. But yeah, they begin to realize that they're not actually human. But sentience is something that Robert Ford has strived for his hosts to have, meaning to become human. So the first season kind of unfolds in this really fantastic, beautiful way. I mean, yeah, the whole concept of robots and AI becoming self-aware and attacking humans is not new, but this show does it in the first season at least, does it in such just an incredible way. I forgot to mention, you have Ed Harris, who's playing the mysterious man in black, and he is also really, really good on this show. The first season has a beginning, middle, and end for the most part, and it does kind of lead you into, okay, here's what we're going to do for the second season. And that's when it really began to lose me. Because the first season was contained to Westworld, but eventually the show moves away from it, and it still follows Evan Rachel Wood. She's the main character across all the seasons. I think there's 4 total seasons. And as they began to move away from the theme park, they started doing way too much. It got way too deep, and ultimately it just became so fucking confusing. I'm deeply ashamed to admit that it just completely lost me, plot-wise. I had no fucking idea what was going on anymore. It just does way too much, way more than we needed. Way too many characters, too many different storylines. It's confusing, what timeline is what. Is this part in the, present time, and is this part in the past? The first season does that aspect really well, but after that, it just completely fucking lost me. And I've talked to other people too who are pretty much the same, had the same thought. But I do know that there are people who loved this show from beginning to end. I wanted to, and I've watched all of them, but I gotta be honest, I watched them at a certain point, kind of just more out of necessity. I started this shit and I'm going to finish it. But I wasn't having fun anymore. I would say by midway through season 2, I was like, I'm lost. I just did not enjoy it anymore. It just completely went away from me. But if you watch season 1 as itself, it is so unbelievable. It's so good. I just wish they didn't try to put too much into it after that, but they did. What do you guys think? Or what's a show that you have this feeling about? Smile, everyone! Oh, Jesus, no, not like that. Jesus, never like that, you creep. Hi, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the movie Smile 2. So it is rated R. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes long. It's obviously a horror movie, and it got very good reviews across the board. You ever notice how horror movies these days seem to be getting longer? I feel like they used to be 12 minutes long. Now they're pushing 2.5 hours. Anyway, this is obviously the sequel to the movie Smile. The plot of this one is, about to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. Basically, this story Jesus, guy. Please wipe your nose, freak. The story starts 6 days after the end of the first Smile movie, where the Smile curse was passed on to the detective, one of the detectives from the first movie. And then it gets passed on to this guy, and then it gets passed on to the main character, this lady here, who basically, I guess, she's almost like a Lady Gaga type character, maybe. And so the majority of the movie is following her and her battle with this mysterious thing, this curse, this entity that makes people do really big, wide, creepy smiles. And eventually, after a certain time frame, the curse takes over them completely, and they end their own lives. And they have to end their own life in front of another person, because that's how the curse transfers. It transfers to the person who witnessed the horror. One of the things I liked about this movie was that it was unique. Like, we've seen the cursed thing before, right? But what I like about Smile and Smile 2 was that, and by the way, I actually like Smile 2 better than the first one, but I like that they haven't taken a dive into the origins of this curse. Like, we as the audience have absolutely no idea where this curse comes from, how it started, when it started. I imagine, because I think there's already going to be a Smile 3, I imagine at some point there's going to be like a Smile origin movie, right? But I like the mystery of it. I like the kind of just the unsettling nature of this thing. And I like this movie a little bit more than the first one because I feel like this one, first of all, wasn't so like dark and gloomy all the time. It seems to take place in a more a bright, environment, if you will. But I like how this one, horror movies sometimes are just horror movies. It's about blood and gore. But here with this one, it's a story about trauma confronting your own past, the potential repercussions of fame and what fame could do to a person. And so she has to kind of like confront all of that while also trying to ward off this whatever it is. She is excellent in this movie, I thought. I was someone who felt that the first Smile movie was actually kind of a little overrated. I liked it, but I wasn't like freaking in love with it. But I found this one to be more in-depth and more enjoyable, more entertaining. Like, I can't sit here and say that this was a bad movie, because it wasn't. It was a solid movie. It was a good sequel. It had a lot of creepy elements. There's a person or thing at the end that has these really big freaky eyes that freak me out a little bit. Smiles. I never realized how unnerving a smile could be until I see these movies. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a worthy, horror movie. It's not like a slasher movie. And I mean, if you enjoyed the first one, I think you're certainly going to enjoy this one. I think. It's probably not a movie I would ever watch again. I liked it enough for a one-time viewing, but I didn't love it enough to like, oh yeah, I'm buying this movie, I'm going to have it on my shelf, and I'm going to watch it sometime later. But it was still good. So, out of a possible 9,262 smiles, I give it 8,832 turn those frowns upside down. So, there you go. Oh boy, here we go. How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to bet that this is going to drive some fragile white people a little cuckoo-cuckoo? Snape was a white wizard, okay? The potions master at Hogwarts, okay, was a white man, all right? He was a white man in the books. He was a white man in the films. You can't just change their skin color. It changes the entire story. Somehow, some way. It changes everything. It changes all this. How does it change it? How does it change it again, Cletus? How does it change it again? The story? Cletus! Would you get out of your mother, for God's sakes, for once? Sorry about that, folks. Jesus, it's gross. The fictional character that's a wizard at a wizard magic school that don't exist in real life. He's got to be white because, well, I don't fucking know, but it's got to be white, all right? It's just got to be. You're destroying literature, okay? That transphobic bitch lady, she said Snape has got to be white. That's what she wrote with her words, I think. I don't know, y'all. I can't read. Are they going to lose their minds over this? Are they? I mean, because they lose their minds over, when a black actress plays a mermaid, or when a black actress plays a green-skinned witch. So, if this casting officially happens, well, we're ready. We're ready for your hateful racism. People are so predictable. Speak No Evil is a new psychological horror movie starring James McAvoy, and I just watched it, so here's what I think. So first, it is rated R. It is an hour and 50 minutes long. It's a horror movie, and it got very positive reviews. When an American family is invited to spend the weekend at the idyllic country estate of a charming British family they befriended on vacation, what begins as a dream holiday soon warps into a snarled psychological nightmare. Snarled? Snarled. Snarled. You can actually watch this now on Peacock if you have that. Or you can stream it on Amazon Prime, but you do have to pay for it. So this is a remake from another movie of the same name that came out a couple of years ago. I have not seen the original. So to describe this movie as just a horror movie is probably not correct. Like, if you're expecting some scare-a-minute horror fest, you won't be getting that here. There's basically no blood, gore, or violence until the final portion of the movie. But what it does do really well, in my opinion, is it is a very slow build-up. The use of long scenes of dialogue and the kind of slowly peeling away the layers of James McAvoy's character and his wife, and this, mysterious young boy they have with a supposed deformity, you, as the audience, are gradually realizing something is not right here. And then it explodes into a final act that is just nonstop. So basically, you are watching the slow buildup of this story that all comes together and goes kaboom right there in the last 20, 25 minutes or so. And it's done well, in my opinion. I thought it was done really, really well. James McAvoy is beefier than I remember. He's very bulked up for this. But he does a fantastic job at playing unnerving, creepy characters. I mean, really, from my knowledge, he's only really done it one time before, and that was in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split, one of M. Night Shyamalan's recent good movies. But here, I think he plays even more diabolical. He's even scarier in this because of how, friendly he is kind of at first, but then slowly begins to evolve into this, what the fuck is this guy's deal kind of thing. And yeah, he's fantastic. Everyone in this movie really is fantastic. But you do have a very violent final act that works really well. So, again, it's not your typical horror movie in the sense that this is this family being stalked by this mysterious couple the entire time. People aren't dying every 20 minutes. It's a movie where you are just constantly anticipating something boiling over. And then it finally boils over. I honestly didn't really know what to expect with this movie, but I liked it a lot. I personally love the pacing of the movie because it was so effective. Some movies that are like this, though, have done the slow build-up thing, and it just did not work out. But it definitely does with this one, in my opinion. So out of a possible 276 severed tongues, I would give it 264 stuffed bunny rabbits. What? Well, there you go. Squid Game Season 2 premiered just the other day on December 26th. I watched all of it in one fell swoop because it's only 7 episodes long. And like many of you, I was a humongous fan of Season 1 and was totally excited for this one because it's 3 years in the making. Before I get started, spoiler alerts, obviously. If you haven't watched Season 2 yet, I might spoil things here. First and foremost, this show has way too many attractive men. Stop it. Stop that. Don't do that next time. Anyway, listen, I liked this season. I did. I thought it was well made. The acting was fantastic. It was good. But my gripe here is that this is essentially Season 1 just all over again. Now, the first 2 episodes, you don't even see the games. So you really only have 5 episodes after that. And in the 7-episode run, I believe we only see 3 games played. The first one, of course, being this fucking crazy googly-eyed bitch with her little fucking her eyes everywhere. Fucking people sniping people out. But then we get new games, which I liked. I liked the fact that they weren't just rehashing the games we saw in Season 1. They were different. They were kind of unique. They were very interesting games they played. And when they were in the games, it was tense. It was very intense. To me, nothing will ever top the tension of that glass bridge game from Season 1. That shit freaked me out. But once you got into the games, first of all, they're now trying to rush character development within these last few episodes. They have characters, obviously, that we're supposed to like, and they have characters that we were supposed to hate. I fucking could not stand this man. This man annoyed the fuck out of me. I was like, oh my god, please die. Please die. Anyway. But the thing is that he has this plan to stop the games once and for all. He uses the money he won from the first season to hire people to find the people responsible for the game. For instance, trying to find that really cute guy in the subway, you know, the guy who initiates that little card flip game thing and then gives them the invitations. And so I was assuming that his plan was to infiltrate this compound, get back to that island, and stir some shit up and just fucking go crazy on everyone. But then he ends up back in the game, and then once he's in it, I feel like his plan just sort of stopped. And now obviously this was because like they took out the tracker from his tooth, so the other people from outside couldn't find him that way, and so he did have to improvise, but really his improvisation was just, hey guys, after the game, let's just vote to not go back to the games, let's just vote to go home. But obviously he's not successful with that, and I kind of feel like he's just now there just playing the games. Like he's just doing it all over again, he's even the same number. And while they were new games, it still was just basically season 1 over again. The first season, the bad guys had an inside man playing the games with them, and we didn't know who it was until the very end. This time, however, they have another person they plant in there, but we as the audience know who it is. And I didn't know what he was doing either. Like, what was his goal? We're also introduced to a character who is one of these guys, one of the triangle fucking mask goons. Actually, it's a woman. My other question to those who have seen the season, what was the point of her role or character? Like, from the beginning, it's like we were trying to sympathize with her, but then she's one of these, and I'm like, okay, but they kept cutting back to her and going like to her story like briefly, and it was like, for what? What's her point? What's the role here? What's going on? Also, I was so happy that this guy, he was Detective Jun-Ho from the first season. So dreamy. I love him. I was happy to find out he was still alive, and he is also working this plan to infiltrate this island. But he doesn't have any luck either. I also I understand that season 2 and season 3, because if you didn't know, they've already renewed it for season 3, but seasons 2 and 3 were written together as one long story that they decided to split into 2 seasons. So this season ends with a cliffhanger, and it ends, kind of like right in the middle of the story. And so that's one thing that I had in the back of my mind, the fact that like this was like just Squid Game season 1 over again. So obviously you have to understand that the first half of this story is about developing all of these characters, I'm assuming. And then the second half, the final season, hopefully is where shit will actually, to happen. Like, the story isn't over for this season. There's still a lot more. They wrote the seasons 2 and 3 together, and they were in production at the same time. It's kind of like how they did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They filmed it all in one fell swoop. So, my somewhat disappointment with this particular season, I'm hoping, is just momentary. And that when they premiere season 3, which is coming out in 2025, they're not making us wait 3 years, we'll be like, oh, okay, this is why it was kind of like a slow moving thing, and now we're getting started. I'm just hoping. I don't know for sure. But anyway, that's what I thought of it. Hopefully season 3 kind of wraps this shit up and makes this season feel better than it made me feel. I liked it, but I was just like, and that's it. So hopefully we get a solid conclusion that makes this season worth that slow build-up. Anyway, have you guys watched it? What do you think? Am I stupid? Probably. Did you love it more than I did? Or, I don't know. Comment below. What's one of the most stunning movie scenes you have ever seen? I'll go first, and I can only show you a very teeny tiny snippet of this scene because obviously, TikTok. But here goes. So this may be a movie a lot of you may not have ever heard of or seen, I'm not sure. But the scene is the Dunkirk beach scene from the movie Atonement with James McAvoy and Keira Knightley. Now, a little bit of backstory here. My buddy Matt, many, many years ago when this came out in theaters, I want to say in 2008-ish or so, he saw the movie and then he had to try to convince me to drag me to see this movie. He said it was so good, that he knew I would love it. I was like, there's no fucking way. Some romantic war type thing? No. And then I saw this movie and I was blown away. I mean, altogether, this was one of the most beautiful just films I've ever seen, at that point. It's gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, it's tragic, it's sad, it's gorgeous. So basically, James McAvoy and Keira Knightley, they play lovers who are unfortunately torn apart because of a lie that Keira Knightley's niece tells in the movie. The niece is played by, and I never know how to say her name, so this is her, obviously older, but she played, a child back in this movie, and she was nominated for an Oscar for her performance in Atonement. She's jealous, and she tells a lie, which ends up separating these two lovers. James McAvoy ends up going to war, because it takes place during World War II, which takes him, at one point, to Dunkirk, which Dunkirk, there's another movie called Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan that's absolutely fucking stunning. But this is a scene that has James McAvoy walking through the beach, and you're seeing many different facets of kind of like what war does to people. You see civilians who are injured, you see these soldiers who are traumatized and blown apart. Soldiers are having to shoot their horses dead. And what's most incredible, I mean, first of all, the production design of this entire scene is out of this world. The visuals, the subtle performances you see. But this scene is about 4.5 to 5 minutes long, I think, and it's all in one continuous take. So there's no cuts. It's done in one long, tracking shot. Which means you had to have all of this working well together at the same time to not fuck up. And I don't know how many times they had to do this scene, but what they ended up with was one of the best scenes I have ever witnessed in my life. The background score is just so powerful. It's emotional. It's, like I said, it's gut-wrenching, and it hauntingly captures the horrors of war. I remember just watching this in theaters, and I'm like, am I gonna cry at this shit? I don't even. It's just such a powerful moment in such a powerful movie. If you've never seen it, I didn't want to see it. I never did. But I'm so thankful that I did see it. Because in whatever year this came out, 2007, 2008, it was by far one of my top 3 favorite movies of that year. Absolutely incredible movie, and that Dunkirk scene is astonishing. But what's yours? Now this is a Christmas movie, my friends. This is a Christmas movie you sit down with the entire family on Christmas morning and watch together. Maybe don't do that part of it with the family, the kids. Maybe send them to a different planet when you watch this. This is another Mikey at the Movies. I'm sorry, the poster is just... And I'm reviewing the new movie, Terrifier 3. This was released a couple of months ago. It's 2 hours and about 5 minutes long or so. It was well received. After surviving Art the Clown's Halloween massacre, Sienna and her brother are struggling to rebuild their shattered lives. As the holiday season approaches, they try to embrace the Christmas spirit and leave the horrors of the past behind, but just when they think they're safe, Art the Clown returns, determined to turn their holiday cheer into a new nightmare. The festive season quickly unravels as Art unleashes his twisted brand of terror, proving that no holiday is safe. God, I fucking love him. Oh my god. This dude is just, simply put, the wackiest, craziest motherfucker of all time. just seeing him in a Santa suit is just horrifying. God, look at that face. God, that's a face I don't think anyone's other could love. Gonna do the crazy art eyes. I mean, look at him. He's just so goofy. If I wasn't afraid he would slowly take my skin off of my body with a butter knife and turn my skin inside out and reapply it to my body, and then cut off both of my nipples and eat them, and then take a corkscrew and corkscrew out every single organ from my body, and then take some big whimsical mallet and bonk it over my head, cracking my skull open with my brain seeping out. If it wasn't for all of that, I think I'd totally be friends with this guy. Jesus. Okay, so this movie, it's another Terrifier movie, right? I feel like these get more extreme as they go on. I can't keep looking at this. He was so excited to meet Santa. The actor who plays him, he is so good at mime work and clown work and doing the whole just so good at it. But I feel like these movies just get grosser and grosser. I mean, there were a couple of times in this movie where I was like I almost threw up. at how gory some of the stuff was. And that's ultimately what these movies are. They're gore fests. You're not supposed to care about any of the characters. The only person you really care about truly is Art. It's the art show, really. I mean, it's just about what crazy shit is he gonna do next. And for that, it's more of the same. It's super entertaining. It's a great slasher gore fest. My only gripe, I think, was how, and spoiler alert, okay? My only gripe was that at the end of the movie, they went too supernatural with it. Like, I like Art the Clown, just sort of him on his own. Because he's frightening just by himself. But then his little, his sidekick helper, there was that supernatural element to her, and she was talking, and I'm like, Art doesn't talk, and that's what makes him so effective. Like, I don't know, I kind of felt like he ended up taking second place to her towards the end. I was like, girl, no. So I didn't like what they did with that. Personally, I didn't care for it. Sorry, not sorry if that's an unpopular opinion, but I just want Art. Obviously, they set it up for the potential of another movie, and I'm sure they will make another one. I mean, this movie was incredibly successful. And really for the most part, I loved it. I thought it was just another great Terrifier movie. These aren't good movies, like movies that are like, wow you or impress you or make you cry or win Oscars. But for sheer gory entertainment, it's perfect. And I will absolutely watch more of these. So out of a possible 666 frozen Santa Claus heads being shattered with a hammer, I give this 652 live rats being shoved down a lady's throat and being ripped out of her neck. So, there you go. Hey, have you ever wondered how come there's not a Thanksgiving-themed slasher movie? Well, you're in luck. Hi, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the horror slasher film Thanksgiving from 2023. Real quick, of course, it's rated R. It's an hour and 47 minutes long, and it got very positive reviews across the board. And I just watched it on Netflix, so that's where you could watch it if you have it. Basically, the plot of the movie is there was a big midnight opening for a big box store, for Black Friday sales. And a group of teenagers ends up getting in the store before the crowd does. It pisses off the crowd, and it causes a massive riot and a stampede, people trampling over others. Typical Black Friday stuff. The thing of the matter is the opening scene isn't really that far from reality. We have actually had Black Friday stampedes that led to people dying. People have been trampled and crushed to death on Black Friday. So this isn't even far-fetched. It may be a little exaggerated, but not that much. People die, and then a year goes by. When a year after the Black Friday tragedy, a killer comes out. He's dressed as a pilgrim, wearing a John Carver mask, which is actually kind of unsettling. And he begins to kill, brutally. The deaths in this movie is made by Eli Roth, who's kind of known for this sort of thing. They're gruesome, they're gory. This is not a family film. But you have your main character who's kind of like your final girl prototype. And, her and her friends are trying to, escape this guy, but also find out who the hell he is, why he's doing this. And then you have the big reveal at the end of who the killer is, who's behind the mask. I'm going to tell you something. I was actually wanting to, or expecting to not like this movie. But in actuality, I thought this was a very worthy addition to the slasher genre. It doesn't do a whole lot different than what we've seen in slasher movies before, but it follows the formula really well. And when you find out who the killer is, I wasn't completely surprised by who it was. And you do kind of have, like, the motive behind their killings is actually kind of like, that makes sense. I get it. I understand why this person went a little crazy and did this stuff. And I like that, because usually in these types of slasher movies, you don't really, like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, they're just mindless killers that you don't really know what their motives are. Obviously, the person's a monster, and, I thought this was a fun movie. I liked it. It may not fall into the list of classics like the Halloween films or Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, but I could see this turning into a series, so they are actually making a second one. It's not fantastic by any means, but it's good. I mean, for me personally, I like this movie. It was entertaining. It didn't there was no slow parts. It's not a movie that's going to win Oscars. It's not trying to win awards. It's trying to be a horror slasher movie. It's not very scary, I'll be honest with you. But as a slasher movie, it works really well. And if you're into the genre, I would certainly recommend it. So, out of a possible 369 axes, I give this movie 327 humans cooked in a giant oven. So, there you go. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. On this day of thanks, might I recommend a motion picture for the entire family to probably not watch together, especially maybe kids and probably grandmas also shouldn't watch this, but maybe it can be a new tradition for your family every Thanksgiving. The movie is called Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Yep, that's a turkey. That's a turkey. I think there's various places that you can stream this now, but what else is there to say? I've said really nothing, but what else is there to say? What's it about? A possessed turkey terrorizes 5 college students during Thanksgiving break. Obviously. Yeah, he is a foul-mouthed turkey named Turkey. Yeah, that's his name. And he just goes around just killing bitches, you know, like you do on Thanksgiving. It was such a great movie that they skipped part 2 altogether and went straight to Thanksgiving 3. Warning, boobs are in the first second of the movie, starring our favorite turkey. Yeah, they didn't make a second one. They went Thanksgiving and then Thanksgiving 3. Because, duh. Which would technically make it Thanksgiving 2, but they just put 3 at the end. What are we even doing here? I don't even know. Yeah, it's got a fucking chainsaw. A turkey with a chainsaw going around cutting bitches up. You know what? It's fun to watch because of how fucking stupid it is. This is one of those movies that is just so bad and so dumb that it's really quite entertaining. It's kind of like that movie Roller Gator, which I've only seen through Rifftrax, if Roller Gator was a rated R bloodfest. He looks like a velociraptor, kind of, right? Maybe a little bit. Anyway, tonight, while you're after your dinner, sit around the living room around the fire, cozy up, and watch Thanksgiving. It's that or bring up Donald Trump at the dinner table. One of the two. Both are going to end in disaster. So, all right, that's your recommendation for today. Okay, great. What's a TV show you expected to be one thing but then turned out to be something completely different? I'll go first. The Orville, starring and created by Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, the voice of Peter Griffin, Stewie Griffin, Brian Griffin, Stan Smith. It also stars Scott Grimes, who, if you did not know, this is the voice of Steve on American Dad. And it also has one of my favorite villains from the TV show 24. Penny Johnson-Gerald plays the Doctor. It also has its own artificial intelligence robot character named Isaac, who, when in human form, is gorgeous. Hello, Isaac. Anyway, I expected this show because it's a Seth MacFarlane show. It stars him, created by him, all that. I was expecting this to be like a full-fledged comedy. I was expecting this to be like just kind of a spoof on shows like Star Trek. When in actuality, it is more of a show inspired by Star Trek, because Seth MacFarlane's a big fan. And it's a show paying homage to Star Trek and shows like it. Because essentially, The Orville is a sci-fi dramedy. It's not a laugh-a-minute comedy. Not at all. I was a little thrown off at first when the show kept going. I'm like, is this gonna be a funny show? But then I kind of just slowly began to just fall in love with the concept that it was. So basically, the Orville is a ship. It is an exploratory ship. And it, of course, takes place in the very distant future, in the year like 2400 or something. And so the show really just follows the Orville on their various adventures. They explore the galaxy, meet all sorts of new people, creatures, aliens, etc. And while it took a season for me to be like, oh, okay, to really accept the show for what it was, it really became fantastic by seasons 2 and 3. I am not a big Star Trek fan. I never have been. But this show, I just think is just I think it's like a great love letter, if you will, to shows like Star Trek. You can see the love and passion that Seth MacFarlane has for shows like that. And honestly, the Orville is, you know, it's well written. It is funny from time to time. Like there's definitely comedy in this. You know, none of these characters you really ever take truly seriously, and they do a lot of off the wall shit that will make you laugh. But it's definitely more aligned with Star Trek than it say is with like Family Guy. The first 2 seasons aired on Fox, and then eventually it moved over to streaming on Hulu. Like Hulu took over the show, and that was on season 3. You can watch all 3 seasons currently on Hulu. Season 3 ended a while ago, and we were unsure if it was going to be doing a season 4, but it has been confirmed by Scott Grimes that season 4 is happening, and it will start production in 2025. And when I saw this news, I was super excited. It's not one of my top 10 favorite shows, but I do absolutely love the show, and it's worth watching. Remembering movies from my childhood, do you all remember The River Wild? As a youngin', this movie, because, you know, it's an action-type movie, was like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. I absolutely loved it. And I've rewatched it recently. I'm like, yeah, I think it still holds up. So it stars the always incredible Miss Meryl Streep, a legend. She plays a character who was once an expert, like river rafter person, expert. I don't know what the title is. And she wants to take her family, her husband, played by David Strathairn, and her son, played by Joseph Mazzello, the kid from Jurassic Park. So she wants to take them on this big journey down this river that she used to raft on. And almost from the very beginning, they run into these 2 strangers, played by Kevin Bacon and John C. Reilly, before he became a big name. And they ask Meryl Streep's character, Gail, can you help us down the river because our guide is gone. Guide, that's the word I was looking for. Our guide picked up and left us. And so she goes, yeah, of course. But then they start to notice some weird things about these 2. Because as it turns out, they're not so great. Kevin Bacon and John C. Reilly are 2 guys who are bank robbers, and they're on the run. And they're trying to escape, and they need her help to basically get them to the other end of this river to evade police. So they take the family hostage at gunpoint and force Meryl Streep to get them down the river. And so you have this, I think it still holds up really strong, this really cool dynamic between Meryl Streep and Kevin Bacon's character. Because she's like, I'm not putting up with your shit. But he's like, I don't give a fuck. You're doing what I tell you to do. Now, in order to get them to the very end of this, they have to go down this thing called the Gauntlet, which rafting guides are no longer allowed to do. And I think at one point, it's Benjamin Bratt comes in and says, hey, you can't go down there. What are you guys doing? And at some point, her husband gets separated from the group as they begin to head towards the Gauntlet. So you have this big final, climax of a scene with them going down this thing. And Meryl Streep, I believe, did a lot of her own stunts. Not all of them, but I do remember hearing that she did the majority of her own things in this movie. Because why not? Meryl Streep's a badass. But it's just a really fun movie. It's just, it's an action movie, a hostage movie, if you will. I think you can watch this on Amazon Prime. I know I did a little while back. I think it was like $4 to buy it. I don't know where else you can watch it if it's like free anywhere else. But do you guys remember this movie? And do you love it as much as I did and still do? It's just a really fun movie. It's just mindless kind of action fun. Sometimes these older movies we loved as kids don't hold up well, right? When you watch them later on as an adult. But this is one that I think really, really does. So I will probably always love The River Wild.
You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
Got it. Trying to impersonate some of the worst movie lines of all time. I guess we'll do this one. You're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip. No, it's not bad enough. You're just a chicken. A cook-cook-a-chow. A cook-cook-a-chow. No, that's Arrested Development, Mike. You're just a chicken. A chip, 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 chip. Chip, 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 chip. Oh. I see you, Tommy. I see you.
Over. Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
Oh. Everybody betray me. Everybody betray me. I fed up with this world. Everybody betray me. I fed up with this world. Not enough. It's gonna be more of like a angry teenage girl arm flip. Like, I fed up with this world. I fed up with this world. I'm gonna say world like world. I fed up with this world. Everybody betray me. I fed up with this world. This world. It's like not even a word that he's saying. I fed up with this word.
I fed up with this word. Doth everybody here in my presence betwixt my apartment building in San Francisco, you have all shoved a dagger deep through my heart. I can no longer go on in this world, because I, for one, am sick and tired of this world. Okay, that wasn't even remotely close. Everybody betray me. Everybody betray me. Everybody betray me. Everybody betray me. Everybody. That's lost. How come everybody betray me? Calm down, Christopher. Everybody betrays me. I am fed up with this world. Oh my god, could you imagine? Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. Oh, I got whiplash. I did it again. Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. Okay, so a little less and then also a little more, okay? Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. Oh, I think I broke a finger on that shit. Oh, shit. Whoops. Well, that was probably kind of better than his performance, but sorry about that. Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, you're mixing scenes. What kind of drugs, Denny? No, what? Just a chicken. Oh, hop, 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 hop. Oh, hi, doggy. Oh, my, what is happening? Everybody betray me. I got the test results back. He's definitely breast cancer. What? Everybody betray me. I'm fed up with this world. You know what? That's as best as I can do. Is my review of The Room. Absolutely insane. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Hello, welcome to another Mikey at the Movies, where I review the new horror movie, The Substance, starring Demi Moore. It is rated R, and that is for graphic content, violence, gore, and nudity. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes long. It's labeled a horror movie, and it got very positive reviews. In a nutshell, basically, Demi Moore plays an aging actress who is starting to not get work anymore, and it's obviously detrimental to her mental health. So by circumstance, she is invited to this new scientific program. It's called The Substance. Basically, it's something, and spoiler alert, by the way. So basically what the substance is she injects it, and it makes a new person, a younger version of herself, literally come crawling out of her spine. And the younger version is played by Margaret Qualley. And every 7 days, they have to switch back to the other version, or else there will be serious repercussions. But basically, she becomes enthralled in this new life. She's getting roles now. People are noticing her. She's getting hot guys. And she tries to push it. She tries to go beyond the rules. Spoiler images alert, okay? That causes Demi Moore's character to become older very rapidly, and body parts start falling off. She becomes so addicted to this that she says, nah, I'm staying. And then we get this. Full-on monster movie in the final act. This was an unexpectedly brilliant movie. It is not for the faint of heart. Like I said, it's gory. I almost threw up a couple of times. I cannot do fingernails being ripped off the skin. I can't do people pulling teeth out of their mouth. It's bloody, it's gory, it's graphic. It's got a lot of nudity, especially in the first act. But I think it's such an inventive, creative, and original way to present this type of story. To me, it's clearly messaging the fact that women have these societal pressures to remain youthful and beautiful, and that in the industry, the entertainment industry, it's controlled by old white men who are only looking for the hot young women, right? So women have these much higher expectations. So what will one go to get back to being youthful? It's kind of like a really dark, gory version of Death Becomes Her almost. But I think as a man, this is probably not going to hit me the same way it will a woman. So I probably could not appreciate it for its true message, but I still got it. I understood it. And this was just one of the best movies I've seen recently. I was so surprised by it. Wildly original. So different. Demi Moore is fantastic. Margaret Qualley is excellent. The makeup team, the prosthetic team, and by the way, this is a costume that the actresses are in. This is not CGI. This is Demi Moore in makeup and prosthetics. They did a phenomenal job with this. This movie looked incredible. There's a lot of slurpy noises in this movie, like noises, and that's kind of gross after a while. Everything just sounds squishy in this movie. But the story was just so good. It was so well told, I thought. And you can stream this, you have to pay for it, but stream it on Amazon Prime right now. So out of a possible 100 spinal creatures ripping out of my body, I give this 98.5 squishy fingernails being ripped off of my fingers. So there you go.
I hate 2-lane drive-thrus at a fast food restaurant that piss me off. One reason is because, like, I pull up to a lane, right? And I've been waiting there for like 2 to 3 minutes. And then another person pulls up to the other lane well after I did, right? but then they help that person first while I've been sitting here waiting. And the other reason why I hate too late drive-thrus is when people don't understand the rules. If I order first and I'm done, I pull up. I start going towards the window. Pay attention. Listen to the other people at the drive-thru. Because this douche knocker who finished their order like a minute or two after me decides, you know what, fuck you, I'm cutting in front of you. And then when I got up to the window, right? I know, right? Fat guy problems, who cares? But when I got up to the window, they told me my order was something totally different because it was the other guy's order. Because that guy's a fucking idiot and didn't understand that he wasn't next. Sometimes being fat, I mean, usually it's glorious, but sometimes when you have to eat food and make your belly fatter, this is the shit we have to put up with.
What is your weird and useless talent? Like, if you were on the Nickelodeon game show, Figure It Out with Summer Sanders, what would be your completely useless talent? Born with a Big Dipper on the head. What the fuck? Anyway, you know what mine would be? I have this ability to make my face look like Robert De Niro's face. Okay, here we go. Sorry, okay, here we go. Fuck, okay. Pull it together, boy. Hey, you talking to me? Huh? Hey, fuck you, huh? Why? Hey, fuck you, Martin Scorsese, huh? Put me in your next picture. I can't do his voice. I can just make my face smush to resemble his. How am I even seeing right now? My eyes are not even open. Huh? Okay, so anyway. What do I do with that? How do I make money with that? Okay, and I don't fucking know, huh? Stop stealing my fucking face, you dummy. Go fuck your mother. Oh my god, this is just getting just out of hand. If you do Robert De Niro face for too long, legend says it gets stuck that way. So, is that how he got Robert De Niro face? Ho ho ho, motherfuckers. Merry early Christmas, yeah? I don't like the way that, okay. Might I recommend a new family Christmas film to watch every Christmas instead of watching A Christmas Story on loop? God, I don't like the way the thing is just dangling. Oh, balls dangling in my face, what's new? Hey, here's a new Christmas tradition movie, okay? It's called Violent Night, starring David Harbour. You know, Hopper from Stranger Things. Yeah, he plays Santa Claus. The real Santa Claus, okay? Came out a couple of years ago. I remember watching it back in 2022. What's it about? What's it about? A shark or something? No. Well, first is rated R for a lot of blood. A lot of blood, okay? Guts, everything, just everywhere. Hour 52 minutes long. Got fantastic reviews across the board. When a team of mercenaries breaks into a wealthy family compound on Christmas Eve, taking everyone inside hostage, the team isn't prepared for a surprise combatant, Santa Claus. He's on the grounds, and he's about to show why this Nick is no motherfucking saint. I added the word fuck for fun. Yeah, I mean, it is. Basically, it's Santa Claus, the real fucking Santa Claus. Just so happens to land on the roof of the house that's currently being robbed. The main guy is John Leguizamo, the main bad guy, okay? And in it, it's got a little sweet side story of a little girl who believes in Santa Claus, but then doesn't believe anymore. And then she starts to slowly believe again. And look, it's got Beverly D'Angelo. Remember her from the other Christmas movie? She's kind of a bitch in this movie. A little bit. Definitely a lot of it. This movie is just pure fun. Is just so much entertainment. Beginning to end. It's full of bloody, gory whimsicalness. I don't think that's a word. Well, it is now. David Harbour is brilliant as good old Saint Nick, wielding his hammer and crushing the skulls of people. I think I read that he kills like 40-something characters in this movie. I mean, we got candy canes through people's necks. We got hammers blowing up people's heads. People getting shot up. This guy ain't fucking around, all right? He's vulgar, foul-mouthed. He's an alcoholic. It's like Bad Santa meets
I don't know, insert any positive happy Santa Claus movie here. But he's like super likable because deep down he is a good guy. He just wants kids to believe in him again. But he's getting pissed that kids aren't believing anymore. They're asking for stupid shit for presents. But this movie is fantastic. I mean, it is just so entertaining. It's funny. It's bloody. It's over the top. It's goofy. It's great action. Some solid fight sequences. And who doesn't love a Santa Claus? Is just going around crushing skulls, right? Turning people's heads into bowls of ooze. Ripping people through chimneys. Exploding their bodies. Maybe don't watch this one around the kids unless you don't care. You could watch this on Amazon Prime. I think you can rent it now for like $3 or something. It's super inexpensive. I'm not sure where else you can stream it though. But it's definitely worth it. It's just a fun fucking movie. So out of a possible, I don't know, 12 days of Santa Claus balls, I give it 12 bloody hammers through your skull. So there you go. Trying to recreate some of the worst line deliveries in movie history. Start with this one.
What's in the bag? A shark or something?
Okay. Got it. What's in the bag? A shark or something? No. What's in the bag? A shark or something? What's in the bag? A shark or something? Too much head movement. You can't even see my head move. Okay. What's in the fucking bag? A shark or something? Okay, that was probably a little too much. Okay, scale it back. What's in the bag? A shark or something? No, that was too far scaled back. That's a little too serial killery. Okay. What's in the bag? A shark or something? God. No, Mike. This is fucking Wicker Man Nick Cage we're doing here, Mike. Get it together. Fucking Oscar winner. What's in the bag? A shark or something? That was just too fucking generic, you idiot. Doth say what's in thine bag. Some sort of finned creature from the sea, such as a shark or something. It's a fucking Shakespeare, you idiot. What's in the bag? A shark or something? Fucking Matthew McConaughey. All right. I like your shark, baby. No. Oh, sorry, I almost threw up. Sorry. No, not the beach. Nope, that's not even this fucking scene, you moron. What's in the bag? A shark or something? A little closer. Looks like fucking Jar Jar Binks with this shit. Ooh, Misa no like shark in bag. Pull it together, Mike. What's in the bag? A shark or something? 2026 Golden Globes, here I come! I just want you young people to know how easy you have it with your cell phones, because back in the day, we had to use Zach Morris phones. Yeah, they're literally called Zach Morris phones, and you Google it, that's what these are. It was the size of an entire house that you would put against your head and speak. It has an antenna so long, it can actually reach space physically. That's how we had to communicate back in the day. We all thought he was so fucking cool, though, with that phone. We're like, oh my god, totally jelly of the Sully. Also, how come nobody talks about how these teenagers from the 80s and 90s have the ability to freeze fucking time? Zach Morris would just go, time out, and then everyone in the entire area would freeze. I mean, they would sort of freeze. You'd see the actors in the background like this. You know? Like when Zach Morris finally brings them back to life, are they thinking to themselves, holy shit, I have lost minutes of my life somehow. I can't remember the last 5 minutes. How did I get here? How did I end up in this position? Nobody ever fucking questioned it. I don't think Zach Morris was a human. Do you think he was maybe brothers with this chick? Evie? She was another girl who can go like this. And she would freeze time. Again, what? Evie was half alien? Wait, what does that mean? If she's half alien, does that mean... Did her mom boink an alien? Was that ever discussed? But what if her mom had 2 kids, and she gave one up for adoption? I mean, they both have blonde hair. Both have the ability to freeze time? Come on. Oh, that explains the fucking phone. He needed something big and powerful enough to reach his pops up in space. Zach Morris and Evie were illegal aliens. If this was 2025, Donald Trump would deport both of them. Back to where? I don't know. Planet Bleep Blop? I don't know where their dad came from. My life is now changed.